seat, please.
This is some bizarre agreement about puppy breeding by two people who I assume are amateurs in that field. Is that right?
No, Your Honor.
How many times have you bred puppies?
Maybe about 15, 20.
What kind of puppies do you breed?
American Bullies.
What is that I know?
It's a cross between an American Pit Bull Terrier, a Staffy Bull, and an English Bulldog.
How many dogs do you personally have?
22.
How much property do you have?
6.25 acres.
How many dogs do you have?
Just the one.
Male or a female?
Female.
Why would you want to breed one of your male dogs with hers?
It was originally my dog, and I co-owned it with her. And my agreement...
You mean she bought it from you?
No, she didn't pay anything for it. It was basically a mentoring situation. She wanted to get into breeding, and I was basically teaching her, showing her the ropes, this and that. It was a dog that was originally co-owned to me, and because it wasn't working out with me, I then co-owned the dog out to her.
How long have you had the dog?
I've had the dog since last October.
Whose name is on the AC papers?
Mine now.
So the dog is yours?
Yes.
And you don't have a contract for me to look
No,
at?
it was all in messages.
Just a second. So now it's your female dog that you bred with one of her males, and there was a litter of puppies?
Yes.
And what was the agreement with the litter of puppies?
The agreement was we would split the litter 50-50. So if there was an even amount, we'd both get half. If there was an odd, then we'd split it, like, since there was 5, we both would get 2. And then the odd one out would be, like, rehomed, a rehoming fee, and we would split the profit on that. And she priced that one at $2,000.
So there were 5 living puppies,
Yes.
I gather. Now, there was some part of this complaint or answer that suggested that after the puppies were born, they went to live with the defendant. Is that right?
Yes.
That's not usual. Why did that happen?
Okay, so the agreement was she'd raise them until 8 weeks. That was the deal at first. But then her dogs got sick and such, and I thought it was parvo. So I told her if it was parvo, I didn't want my dog there with puppies because I didn't want them sick. Well, she told me that it was not parvo and it was just worms that had killed them.
Killed how many of her dogs?
I don't know
How
specifically.
many of your dogs died?
6, and it wasn't from worms, it was coccidia.
So 6 of your adult dogs died?
No.
6 puppies?
Puppies died, only one was adult, and she was fully vaccinated.
Just a second. But none of the puppies that you had from this breeding?
No. My personal dog's way before the breeding even happened.
So the puppies were born on what date?
May 7th. And the breeding was March 11th.
Where are the 5 puppies now?
Somebody stole a puppy out of my yard, and 1 puppy was donated. The original person that I had the contract with was going to get a split litter, and she ended up getting her pick pup, and then my grandma's getting one, and the other puppy is an owed puppy to somebody else. And then the stolen puppy just
a
happened.
second. What I'm gathering is you have 2 puppies left.
Yes.
Male or female?
1 male, 1 female.
Now, you have 3 minutes to tell me why she's not entitled to those 2 puppies.
Because they were not the 2 puppies that she picked to begin with. And for one, when Sunshine came to me for the breeding, her nails were about 3 inches long. She was walking her nails. She was skin and bones. She had fur missing. And she has contacted me numerous of times telling me to come pick this dog up. I just found out she abandoned the dog for 2 weeks at a friend's house. Her friend messaged me, told me to come pick up the dog. I also was told that she wasn't allowed to have the dog where she was at. And she got in an altercation with her boyfriend, and he threw the dog out of the house, as well as I have photos where supposedly the dog ran into a wall, and it looks like somebody threw the dog in the wall. And so I felt that it was in the best interest of the puppies to not go to her, as well as she was not going to follow through with spaying the female. I was going to let her get her puppies, but she had to spay the mother, and the puppies were going to be spayed. And I was going to go ahead and give her puppies.
You have a lot of bad things to say about her, which may or may not be true, but I know within the short distance, 6 dogs died in your care.
Yes.
She gets her 2 puppies, and she's either going to come with animal control to check out your property, or she could come by herself to pick up the 2 puppies. That's what the order's going to read. Do you understand?
Yes, but why?
Great.
What about my countersuit?
You have no countersuit.
Why not?
Because you didn't give her puppies.
They weren't her puppies to be given to. I have a contract with somebody else. They were to get the puppies.
But she didn't notify
Well,
me
just
of
a
that.
second.
Yes, you did, because you contacted her to ask her if you could switch the name of the dog on the paperwork, and she told you no. So that is why.
2 puppies. To her. We're done. Thank you.
Please excuse. Let me step out.
Somebody threw that dog through the wall. And the dog has been thrown out the house.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. But I mean, she's really well taken care of.
Animal control came out, seen the puppies were at my house.
Because the puppies were 1 week from dying from worms.
2 days after she got her dog back and said they were fine, there was no reason to remove anybody.
I just hope she changes her ways and kind of learns her lesson and what she's done was wrong.
I just hope that they're well cared for.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Roga versus Roberto, step forward.
Ariel Roca is suing his former landlord, Hector Roberto, for the return of rent and security deposits and emotional distress.
Mr. Roga, you rented a room in the defendant's home. I assume you rented a room because you needed a place to stay?
Right.
And I assume you rented him the room because that's the way you make extra money.
Yes, I was going through a divorce.
The answer is yes.
Yes.
You needed extra money.
Yes.
More I don't need. You found the ad for the room on Craigslist?
I did.
On what date did you see the room?
The 9th of May.
And on what date did you take the room?
I never really moved in, but I brought stuff over.
Well, if you bring stuff over, then you move it. That means your property is there.
Okay.
You're there. Now, when did you give him money?
Well, on the 9th, I gave him a security deposit.
How much?
$750.
And then?
And then I wanted to bring stuff before I actually moved in, so he said on the 14th I could bring him an additional $750, and I could move stuff in.
Did you do that?
I did.
And Mr. Roberto doesn't deny that. So far on the 14th...
I can deny that.
You deny that he gave you $752 times?
It's the wrong dates.
What date did he give you the first?
He gave me $750 on the 9th.
Yes.
And he did a full move-in on the 12th when I gave him the key and the alarm code to the house.
On what date did he give you the other $750?
On the 12th.
12th?
Yes.
Okay. And on what date, Mr. Roberto, did you tell him to move out of the house?
I never told him to move out of the house.
Ariel violated our written agreement that specifically states he would be kicked out if he broke the rules. And he broke every rule. That's what you say in your answer.
But I didn't kick him out.
Yes,
if
you
you look at the text message, I clearly stated to him this was not working out, and according to our contract, I will give him the 90 days to stay at the home until he found something new.
Let me explain something to you. You're going to give him his security deposit back. You moved out on what date?
The 18th.
Of May?
Yes.
You're going to give him his security deposit back. It didn't work out. You're going to give him his prorated rent back. It didn't work out, and you should be happy. You should be a happy person. You weren't happy with him. He broke every rule. He wanted a place to live. If he wasn't a good tenant, you should both be very happy. Find another tenant.
Including damaging my property.
I'll get to your counterclaim in a second, because right now I'm not believing everything that you said to me. And I'm not believing it because your complaint said I told him if he violated the rules, he would be kicked out. He violated every rule. And then you said to me, I didn't kick him out. Therefore, I don't have to give him a security deposit back.
If you would allow me to show you the evidence of
Just a
the
second.
text messages.
The evidence was you were trying to protect your $750 security deposit and rent. You
I
said
can
it's
care less
not
about
working.
$750.
It's not working out, so you have to be out in 90 days.
Let's get this really straight. I can care less about the $1,500.
Good. That's good. I'm glad you couldn't care less.
I can care less about that.
Great.
Well,
Now
however,
let's
there was
see
a
your
contract where he agreed to the contract, where he stated in his message, I sat with you. You explained to me all the rules and regulations of the home. He also gave me an extra text message stating, I understand that I will not be getting
$750 security deposit and prorated rent. Next, we're going to get to your counterclaim.
Okay.
Your counterclaim is for damage. You say he caused damage when he moved out. I'd like to see the damage that you allege that he did when he moved out.
Sure.
On the 18th.
This is not only on the 18th that he moved out. This was during the 8 days.
Is it?
Yeah, you can show her that for now.
What did he say to you?
I can show you that for now.
Okay. It's a picture of a piece of furniture.
Yes, it's an 85-year-old piece of furniture that's been in my family for a long time.
It's an old piece of furniture.
It's an antique.
And?
Right. And the other is a scratch on the floor.
Just tell me about the furniture, sir.
Okay, so as he was moving out, he had called the police. If you can imagine, I walked into his room because I heard some...
I want to hear about the piece of furniture.
Well, I'm giving it to you,
No,
but
just give it
I
to
have
me.
to let you know what
Just-
went on in the house.
Mr. Roberto, I don't want to know what went on with the house. I have other things to do today.
So do
I'm
I.
asking you what happened
So do
with the
I.
piece of furniture.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
Were you part of the lease buyout?
We were aware that there was even going to be one.
Well, what did you think was going to happen? They were going to throw you a testimonial dinner for breaking the lease?
No, Your
What did you think was going to happen if you broke the lease?
real business, real people. Judge Judy. Ariel Roga says his former landlord, Hector Roberto, owes for the return of rent and security deposit, and for emotional distress. Hector is countersuing for damage to an antique dresser and emotional distress.
Now, what happened with the piece of furniture?
The piece of furniture, he kicked the piece of furniture
Okay, on what date did he kick the piece of furniture?
on the 18th.
And he kicked it out of anger and on purpose.
Absolutely, he did it right in front of me.
Go.
He's a complete liar.
Yep. I want you to tell me about the piece of furniture.
I never touched his furniture.
Did the police come on the 18th?
They did it twice.
Is there a police report?
There is a police report, yes.
I'd like to see it.
I believe he has it. I have it.
I'd like to see it. And you spoke to the police.
I did speak to the
Just
police.
a sec. That's my question. and you told them what happened.
I certainly did.
Good. Show me any report that you made to the police that he vandalized your property.
When I showed the police what he did, he informed me this was
Now, listen to me, sir. I have a report from the police as to what he said to the police. He said to the police that he was renting a room from you. You got into a verbal altercation, and you told him to get out. So he told the police a story. If he had purposely damaged a piece of your property, and you told the police, they would have put it in a report because that's vandalism. Okay, good.
So call East Northport Police Department and argue with them. Because as you see, that report is very vague.
$1,450. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
On your excuse, you may step out.
He is a professional harasser.
Constantly drunk in my house. He broke so many things in my house.
I didn't do any of that stuff.
I just don't think that Mr. Rogas
He's a complete liar. He's a complete liar.
could appreciate what goodness is.
He is a criminal.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Harry versus Louis Iseto. Step forward.
24-year-old Alicia Harry is suing her former roommate, 25-year-old Stephanie Lewis, and her wife, 23-year-old Yasmin Iseto, for a lease-breaking fee, back rent, and a false restraining order.
Okay, Miss Harry, you and the two defendants leased a place together. It didn't work out.
That is correct.
And you all moved out.
That is correct.
You moved out on what date?
February 2nd.
And you moved out on what day?
February 3rd.
And that meant that you all broke the lease.
No,
Correct?
that is
Correct.
Well, did you break the lease?
No, I did not.
Did you pay the rent for 12 months?
No, I did the lease buyout to save my credit.
And what did you do?
We were under the impression that we were all leaving, so we
No, just
left.
a second.
We did.
Were you part of the lease buyout?
We were aware that there was even going to be one.
Well, what did you think was going to happen? They were going to throw you a testimonial dinner for breaking the lease?
No,
What did you think was going to happen if you broke the lease?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Tell me what the nature of your injuries were.
So I had internal bruising.
Tell me what proof you have that you had internal bruising.
The police station sent me to the yard.
I got that. Tell me what proof you have of internal bruising.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Alicia Harry says former roommates Stephanie Lewis and her wife, Yasmin Iseto, owe for a lease-breaking fee, back rent, and a false restraining order. The defendants are countersuing for an assault and for causing them to lose their home.
Now, what did you think was going to happen if you broke the lease?
we thought we could be civil and get together with
Tell me, what did you think would happen when the three of you broke the lease and moved out? You would sign the lease. Or what did you think the landlord was going to do?
We knew that there would be an eviction.
Fine. And that's what happened.
Exactly.
Great. And they didn't come after you, correct?
Correct.
Because she did a buyout. Now, I'd like to see proof that you did a buyout.
Yes.
Check to the landlord.
I did the buyout right here, and in order to do the buyout, I had to pay their back rent and the late fees from them not paying rent for February. So they owe me for the whole $1,071. That was their rent, their portion of the late fees. I already paid my portion of rent, and then it was
Just a minute. So you mean for the last month you had paid your portion of the rent?
That is correct.
Yeah, that's February.
Yes.
Did you pay February's rent?
We did not because
Very good. So
she
then,
had moved out.
just a second. And you lived there until February the 3rd.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you actually paid a $2,000 break lease fee.
That is correct.
Okay. $2,404. That's what it comes to. Their 2/3 of the break lease fee and their portion of the rent. $2,404.
Yes, that is correct.
Good. Okay. Are we done?
No, Your Honor, we do not owe her that money.
Yes, you do.
And they
Yes,
also
you do.
owe me for the cleaning bill, which I'm still currently paying on. That
What
was
cleaning bill?
The cleaning bill for the cleaning fees. When we moved out, they did not clean the apartment. I didn't get a chance to because they were being aggressive towards me while I was moving out. I have video of it.
We
There's
actually
a
have
video.
proof that her portion was not clean as well.
I have
Just a second.
video showing my bathroom and my
Just
room.
a second. All I want to know is what the cleaning fees are.
The cleaning fees are for the apartment for carpet.
Show me what the cleaning fees were. They're responsible for 2/3 of that.
Yes.
Your Honor, if she would have not moved out the way that she had, we would have not moved out either.
I don't care.
You should, though.
I know. Listen to me. I don't care. There was a kerfuffle and an argument, and it got
She
physical.
actually assaulted my wife.
It got physical.
It did.
And then we all don't live together. And you all moved out. Now, if you had
It did.
not stayed, just be quiet. If you had decided to stay, we would be in a different story. You
I actually
decided
have
to
an
leave.
agreement, proof that there was an agreement we would all stay until the end of June.
2404. Now, may I see the cleaning fees?
Yes. And then this is what I paid so far on the cleaning fees.
Did you do a walkthrough when you left on the 3rd of February?
We did a walkthrough on what she had left.
That's not my question to you. I want you to answer my question.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Are you the victim of an assault? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Did you do a walkthrough with the landlord when you left? She left first. Did
No.
you do a walkthrough?
No.
Is the answer. Fine. The total amount is $41.60. Now, you have a counterclaim. Your counterclaim is if she didn't move out, you would have been rendered homeless.
Yes.
Who cares? You didn't get along. It got physical.
Why would
Somebody
I
had
be
to
someone who
move.
got
Somebody had to move out.
But she would not leave her key. She told us that she wasn't going to pay her portion when she was still on the lease.
That
We
is
had an
correct.
agreement.
Just a
We had
second.
an agreement. If she would have moved out, we would have all moved out and went and continued on paying half of the rent.
You all moved out within 24 hours of each other.
Right, after we had the
Fine.
agreement that we were going to stay until June, your honest
Money
part.
owed for actual or punitive damages for assault.
Assault
Who was
we
injured?
had-
Shh. Who was injured?
I was.
Tell me what the nature of your injuries were.
She was.
No, tell me what the nature of your injuries were.
So I had internal bruising.
Tell me what proof you have that you had internal bruising.
The police station sent me to the ER.
Just a second, I got that. Tell me what proof you have of internal bruising.
I don't have any.
Good, well, that's what we're here for. Judgment for the plaintiff, amount to $4,160. Listen to me, it didn't work out. You're supposed to share the burden 3 ways. Do you understand? I mean, you're 2 grown-up people, married. She doesn't render you homeless. You render yourself homeless.
We would have ended up staying if she hadn't have been aggressive and would not have left her key.
We're done.
Please excuse me. Step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I just think it's dumb because we were best friends for 8 years and I don't know why she's doing this. All I wanted was the money back for what they owe me, and so we agreed we would stay till June, and then she just up and left the next day. There was actually no argument. I was just done paying things for them. She got mad. She was over a litter box. They were not happy that I wasn't paying for them anymore. She ended it. I haven't talked to them since February 2nd. Not planning on talking to them ever again.
Real estate deal. I'm not exactly sure if I follow the whole thing, but you wanted to go into the house flipping business.
Yes, I did.
And I don't know what you do. You find houses to be flipped? Is that what you do?
I'm trying to buy houses for myself, invest money in the houses, or I'm able to assign houses that I found to somebody else.
That's exactly what I said. You find houses to be flipped.
Yeah,
And when you find a house to be flipped, you sign a contract with them?
yeah.
With the seller, or whoever has the title, whether it be the bank or anyone else. I don't know how you know each other. You want to tell me how you know each other?
I met the defendant through someone else that was like a broker. And so I met him on April this year, and he was selling houses.
I have to tell you, it all sounds a little shady to me.
Yes, it does.
I met him through somebody else. And you entered into a contract with him.
Yes, he said he had a house
Said he had a house.
that he's selling.
Good. And you
so-
entered into a contract with him.
Yes, with another
I'd like
partner.
to see the contract. Now we have a contract. That usually makes my life easy.
So here, I'll just sit here.
Who prepared this agreement?
My attorney.
Just ask you because number 3, which is prominent, says the purchase price is $75,000 payable by cash, a good check, or money order to the escrow. I've never seen the word good check in something. It's just, as opposed to a bad check. It's funny there. It's odd. A good check.
Probably it means cashier's check.
Purchaser shall deposit in escrow as earnest money, 0. Who's Skyline Property Solutions?
It's my company.
Who's Wesley somebody? I can't read. Trustee.
That was my partner.
Your partner.
Yeah, that we were getting into the deal with to buy the house from him.
Okay, so you and your partner agreed to buy this house and bought his right to sell the house and gave him $10,000.
It wasn't supposed to be like that. What it is was we were just buying the house from him, and we had put the down payment. So the down payment was the $5,000 that I wrote a check to him,
Just a
and then
second.
he was gonna get a $5,000 from my partner.
Just a second. Would you show me where you signed this contract? I don't see anywhere where...
Right here. So And then the $5,000 is there, and I have the payments that I wrote him a check for.
No.
Okay.
First, show me where his signature is.
Right next to the 5,000.
There's no contract. Your name isn't on this contract. Did you sign this anywhere? It doesn't say anything. Somebody agrees to buy something. Vincent. Who is who?
Vincent is the owner of the house.
You're in way over your head. Anyway, you gave him $5,000 for what? Because this means absolutely nothing to me. You gave him $5,000 for what?
To purchase the house with my partner.
Okay. When were you supposed to close?
In 30 days, and then in 20 days we canceled.
Just a second. You gave him the $5,000 when?
On April 21st, and he cashed it.
21?
Yes, April 21st.
You agreed that you were given $5,000 as earnest money on April 21st of this year.
Yeah, I agree.
And you agreed to close property that you didn't own. You agreed to close property with him on property that you didn't own.
No, it's not this way. I agreed with the owner that I wanted to buy the property within 30 days, or I had the right to assign it. Basically, sell the contract. That's what I did to him. He bought the contract from me for $10,000. $5,000 been paid at the moment of signing of that assignment agreement, and another $5,000 from escrow. That's where it's supposed to come from at the day of closing. So he basically bought rights from me to buy this house.
So he bought rights from you to buy your rights and gave you $5,000.
Right.
Now, 20 days later, tell me what happened.
20 days later, he said they have somebody else buying the house. The deal wasn't going quick enough for me and my partner, and so you can get out and we'll get somebody in and give you your $5,000 back.
So you can get out and get somebody else in?
Yes, get
what
out of the contract, and then he'll get somebody else in to buy the house. So then I'll be out and then give me the $5,000 because the funding was taking too long. And so...
Oh, you mean your funding was taking too long?
Yes.
But on what date was that? You must have some emails back and forth.
It was 20 days later that we canceled the contract.
Show me. All you have to do, show me. Don't give me a whole lot of paper. Show me the date where he said to you, it's taking too long.
I never said that, by the way.
It's got to show it to me.
So this was on 5/9/2018, where
I don't know what you're showing me, sir. I want to see proof that he told you that your deal wasn't going fast enough and he was going to sell the deal to somebody else.
So that was the paperwork that I received, but we did talk on the phone about the fact that we weren't getting funding in fast enough, and there was somebody else that was coming in to buy the house. And so they told me they're going to get somebody else to come buy the house, and so that way they can...
I'm going to make this very easy, because this is all...
And he doesn't
too
even
much
have
of
a real estate
just a second.
license.
Don't tell me he doesn't have a real estate license. If you wanted somebody with a real estate license, you wouldn't ask your buddy to hook you up with somebody. That smells from a scam. Now, was this house sold?
No.
Does Mr. Vincent still own the house?
Yes.
Is it currently on the market?
No.
When was it taken off the market? What month?
It must be May somewhere.
Just a second. Think before you answer. When was it taken off the market?
Officially, it's never been on the market. I found
Just a second. Officially?
It
never been on the market?
Never.
Does Mr. Vincent live there?
Yes.
With whom?
Himself, only.
How big is the house?
1,300 square feet.
And what kind of work did you do for Mr. Vincent?
Okay. I advertised my business in Spokane, and he called me. He found me, actually, and he wanted me to buy his house.
He wanted you to buy what month and year?
April 2018.
2018.
18.
You're a scam artist. He gets his money back. You're a scam artist. Probably with Mr. Vincent. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. We're done.
So excuse me, step out.
I knew he was kind of like that. He was a scammy kind of guy.
The person contacted me, and the house officially never been on the market.
When he asked me for cash in the beginning,
We agreed that I will buy the house or I will assign the house.
and I couldn't see the house in the market and we didn't buy it, that was kind of a red flag for me.
I don't think I'm guilty. I don't see I'm doing anything wrong, actually.
I'm not gonna do this kind of deals anymore.
And now, the next case. All parties in the matter of Gibson versus Abramson. Step forward.
Catherine Gibson is suing Harold Abramson for damages after his dog mauled her.
Miss Gibson, you were mauled by the defendant's dogs.
Yes, ma'am.
On what date did this happen?
May 5th, 2018.
And it happened on the property that belongs to a friend of yours. Who
Yes,
is
ma'am.
that?
Her name is Cindy Weaver.
And Mr. Abrahamson, you live on Miss Weaver's property. You're the handyman?
Used to be. Yes, ma'am. I actually built the house.
Were you on May 5th, her handyman?
Not a handyman. I was living on the property, though.
What were you doing there?
There's a residence in the back of the property that I live in.
You rent?
Yes, ma'am.
So you were a renter. How much rent were you paying her?
$400 a month.
How long had you lived there?
5 years.
When did you move out?
I haven't yet. I still live on the property.
And where is Miss Weaver?
She's in the main house.
Other than renting property, do you do any work there?
Occasionally, yes. Small stuff. Not really handyman stuff. Helping
Does
out.
she pay you for that?
She doesn't give me cash for it. No, ma'am.
Fine, so you are purely a renter.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You pay her $400 a month to live in your house.
Yes.
That's where your dogs have to be.
Well-
in your house. We're supposed to keep them in control so that somebody doesn't get almost mauled to death.
And later today,
She doesn't have to pay for your child support, right? You would say it's not right for Miss Raines, who you were dating, to pay for your 13-year-old child support. But that wouldn't be fair, right?
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Catherine Gibson is suing Harold Abramson for damages after his dog mauled her.
Now, other than renting the property, do you do any work there?
Occasionally, yes. Small stuff. Not really handyman stuff. Helping
Does
out.
she pay you for that?
She doesn't give me cash for it. No, ma'am.
Fine, so you are purely a renter.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How many dogs do you have?
3.
What kind?
The dog in question is a pit bull Rottweiler mix.
The other 2 dogs?
The other one is a...
Sit up. All the way up. I can hardly tell. Your pants are falling down, so I can hardly tell whether you're sitting or standing.
The female is a blue pit bull, blue Great Dane mix, 50-50. And then they have a child together, it's about 6 months old.
Now, on May 5th, one or more of your dogs attacked Miss Gibson.
Yes, ma'am.
If you're a renter and you have pit bulls or Rottweilers, you should have renter's insurance. If they'll give you renter's insurance, you're responsible for her injuries. Your dogs were roaming free. They weren't under your control. End of story. You're a renter. She was visiting a friend. They're not allowed to roam around free and bite people. That's a simple rule. You have 3 big dogs. They're supposed to be under your control.
Ma'am,
What?
I feel like they were under my control. They're on the property. This is a fenced property.
No, listen to me.
I wasn't aware this woman was visiting.
Who cares what you were aware of is what you're telling me. The house that you live in is fenced. Your little house is fenced. Is that what you're telling me?
There is a fenced in back, but that's not where they were.
That's,
they were at.
that's, of course, because she didn't go into your property. You're a renter.
It's one piece of property.
No, sir. You're a renter. You're not a handyman. That's what you just told me. You're strictly a renter. You don't have the house back there because the house is under your control because you're taking care of it. You pay her $400 a month to live in your house.
Yes.
That's where your dogs have to be.
Well,
In your house.
Your Honor.
And if they're outside of your house, they have to be under your control.
Your Honor.
On Cindy Weaver's property is not in your control.
Your Honor.
What?
Cindy Weaver was aware that these animals
tell me what she-
roamed
just
the
listen to-
4-acre parcel.
Just pay careful attention to me.
Yes, ma'am.
You can't tell me what Cindy Weaver was aware of because that calls for the operation of the mind of another person.
Yes, ma'am.
That is impermissible in a court of law.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm telling you, you have 3 big dogs.
Okay.
They're
What about a
supposed to.
conversation?
We're supposed to keep them in control so that somebody doesn't get almost mauled to death.
Correct.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
What else do you think he owes you for?
Your Honor, after he got out of jail, we went on a trip.
I don't care about your trip with him. Did you sleep with him on the trip?
I
I
did.
don't care.
But
What's next?
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Catherine Gibson is suing Harold Abramson for damages after his dog mauled her.
Now, you have photographs of your injuries?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see them. Show these to the defendant, please. I have conversations, Mr. Abrahamson, $5,000. We're done.
Thank you, Ms. Onyx. You may step out.
I was blindsided by his dog.
I gotta say, I feel very bad for the lady because of her injuries.
Attacked me on my left side.
But I didn't ask my dog to attack this lady.
Knocked me down on the driveway.
I'm very sorry it all happened, but there's nothing I can do, like I said.
Went through my throat.
I didn't teach my dog to bite people.
I put my arm up. It saved my life.
I didn't ask him to go bite this lady.
I'm still living it.
And let's be honest, it is more than a bite.
I can't sleep.
I feel like he had been provoked in some way.
And depression and PTSD.
Because it's not typical for him to act like that.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Raines versus Roberts, step forward.
Natasha Raines is suing her ex-boyfriend, Kenny Roberts, for bail, jail expenses, hotel costs, and rent.
Miss Raines, tell me from when to when Mr. Roberts was your friend?
Me and Mr. Roberts started talking, and
Mr. Roberts and I started talking.
October of 2016, Your Honor.
And when did you stop talking?
We stopped talking, I would say, September of 2017.
Now, between October of 2016 and September of 2017, you say he owes you money. Tell me for what specifically?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, between October of 2016 and September of 2017, you say he owes you money. Tell me for what specifically?
Mr. Roberts owes me money for posting his bail.
Now, let's start with that because it's the only actual thing that I'm interested in. Bail. Now, Mr. Roberts, you were arrested and your bail was fixed and it was for back child support.
Well, it was an old back pay warrant from 2013 that was supposed to have been thrown out.
From child support?
Yeah, child support.
How many children were you supposed to be supporting?
One.
How old is that child?
13.
What was the amount you were supposed to pay each week?
At the time, it was $281.
Per week?
Every 2 weeks.
And how much did you owe?
I don't owe anything now. That was back in 2013. That was
But when you were arrested in 2017.
Yeah.
What were you arrested for?
I guess the courts didn't properly dismiss the case because it was supposed to have been thrown out back in 2013.
How much was your bail?
$720 or something like that.
How much was his bail?
$760.
Now, did that bail go towards paying your back child support?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
$760 went to pay your back child support.
Yes.
So that satisfied your child support obligation. Did it or not?
Yes, it did.
Okay. She doesn't have to pay for your child support, right?
Yes.
So you would say that's your responsibility?
Yeah, but I didn't know. I didn't know that the case that they was going to do that. Otherwise,
I don't care what you knew. You would say it's not right for Miss Raines, who you were dating, to pay for your 13-year-old child support. That wouldn't be fair, right? I mean, it's no. So you have to pay $760 because she paid it, right? She paid it.
Yes.
She paid it. Now, what else do you think he owes you for?
Your Honor, after he got out of jail, we went on a trip.
I don't care about your trip with him. Did you sleep with him on the trip?
I did.
I don't care. But what's next?
Okay, he also owes me for expenses while he was in jail.
I don't care about that either. What's next?
Rent.
I don't care about rent either.
Okay, Your Honor. Well, these are things he owed me.
No, he doesn't. He owes you $760 for child support. That's what he owes you. It's over. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
He said that he was wrongly arrested because the case was thrown out and it wasn't connecting the courts or whatever.
Well, at the time I was wrongly arrested, and she knew that. I guess she wanted to, help me out.
I felt bad for him, and he asked if I would post his bail and he would give the money back to me.
I didn't give her a set time or what time I can get her money back, so I guess she felt like
avoiding payment and telling me that he's going to, but not producing the money.
The relationship was over with. She wanted to rush me to get her money back.
It affected it greatly.
Just let her, nagging and, just...
In a way that we're not together anymore.
A lot of things were just, we just didn't mesh right.
Just know the background of, whether they're going to give you your money back or not.
Yeah, I wish I'd have been.
Lesson learned.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat.
Miss Sanders, how long have you lived in your home?
For 9 years, Judge.
And how long has Miss Edwards been your neighbor?
For 9 years. She was there before I moved in.
How long have you been there?
10 years, ma'am.
you claim, Ms. Sanders, that the defendant has been harassing you and destroying your property. When did that start?
That started, Judge, around January of 2017.
What happened in January of 2017?
The first incident was a friend of mine gave us gift cards.
Gave who a gift card?
Tina and myself. We purchased.
So you were friends?
Yes, ma'am.
You had been friends?
Yes, ma'am. So I thought we were.
So
we were neighbors.
A friend? Well, not neighbors, but friends.
Yes,
because
I consider that.
If somebody brought the two of you a gift card,
no,
for you to
we bought the gift cards.
So you bought a gift card?
Yes, ma'am. And bought
for how much?
For $200.
Do you remember something about a gift card?
I don't remember. Yes, ma'am. I do.
You remember something about purchasing a gift card?
That part I don't remember.
You don't? Perfect.
I
you
just
don't
remember
just a second. You don't remember it?
No, ma'am.
Good. So that, do you remember it?
Yes, ma'am.
You want to tell me what happened? She doesn't remember it.
Yes, ma'am. I bought the gift cards.
You bought a gift card for $200.
One for her for $100. Myself for $200.
Okay.
I had one more card for $400. I made a mistake and gave Tina the $400 card instead of the $100 card.
Okay, for Christmas.
For Christmas.
When did you give it to her?
It was like the month of December. I don't remember exactly what date, but it was for Christmas because her kids were coming to town.
Okay, so you were going to give her $100, but you gave her the $400 one instead. And then what happened?
And I wondered what happened to the card. I looked back, and it's like Tina couldn't have been spending a $100 card because when she bought this pair of shoes, I realized what had happened. I didn't confront her. I just kept it in my head and watched her. Bought a pair of Timberland pink boots that were $99. The next week, Tina shopped all week. We're neighbors right by there. I see every time she comes. She comes to my door and show me what she bought. So it's like if you bought the Timberland boots, then you bought pots, then you bought your grandkids' toys, then you bought a toilet for $100.
Okay. So you thought you had given her the wrong gift card?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have the $100 gift card?
Yes, ma'am.
So that was still in your pocketbook?
Yes, ma'am.
But you didn't confront her with it?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
All right, well, that was a mistake. If you would have said to her, then, listen, I meant to give you the $100 gift card.
But she knew. I told her
Don't tell me what she knew.
Oh, I mean, I gave her $100. I was telling her, I'm giving you a $100 gift card.
Okay, so it's your bad. You didn't tell her that you had made a mistake. She went and spent it. So that's what started in December of 2017.
Yes,
that's your recollection.
Yes, ma'am.
So what happened? That's so far, that doesn't bring us to court.
Okay. So then I told her we're not going to do any more money business together. Okay? I'm not going to loan her any more money. Judge, I was loaning Tina every month because I knew she was on Section 8. I knew she was low income, and I do try to reach out and help. Okay?
So you were loaning her money?
Yes, ma'am. Every month. She'd pay me back.
Okay. You said that here, that you would loan her a couple of bucks, but she would always pay you back. And then?
And then I told her we weren't doing any more money business, and that's what started all the ugly stuff.
So then you said, I'm not going to lend you any more money.
Exactly.
And then what happened?
I bought a purse. In other words,
you bought a purse?
Bought a purse for Tina. I didn't buy the purse for her. I loaned her my $100.
Counterfeit.
Shh, just a second.
Sorry, Judge, sorry.
I loaned her my $100 to purchase the purse. I wasn't selling the purse. I loaned her $100. When I gave her the $100, she bought the purse, and then later on she wanted to tell me it's counterfeit. I wasn't selling purses. I'm looking for my $100 back.
Next.
Okay.
I don't want to hear anymore.
Okay.
About the purse.
Okay.
On to the next thing.
That's the next thing.
On to the next thing you're complaining about with
Okay,
her.
the next thing is I opened my door one day, heard this noise out there, like somebody dropped a bottle or something. I opened my back door, and Tina's cutting down my mobiles. Off of the I had a awning put up from her door to my door to keep the sun away. I have pictures of that if you'd like to see.
I'd like to see it.
She cut all these here down and and put a hole in my bench. And here's the bench.
Oh my God.
Oh, you mean these things?
Yes, ma'am.
These are things that you put up?
Yes, ma'am.
And she took them down?
Cut them down.
And you saw her cutting them down?
Yes, ma'am. That's over my door.
Okay, and when did you see her cutting them down?
That was in December. That was in January. I'm sorry.
January of 2018?
2017 is when this happened.
No, it had to be January of 2018 because you got the gift cards in 2017, in December of 2017.
I got the gift cards, and got the gift cards in December of 2017.
So this had to happen in January of 2018.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Okay. You opened the door and found her cutting them down.
Yes, and
What's
then
next?
I immediately called the police. Well, before I did that, Judge, I went down my steps. I asked Tina, what are you doing? I won't use the words I used. And she said, I got tired of looking at them. I put some new ones up. What are you doing cutting down my stuff? Before that,
They've been up there for 5 years.
You know, you've got a lot of attitude
I'm
for
so
somebody
sorry.
who has
I'm so sorry.
No, you're not.
She just
Just a
lied to
second.
me, Your Honor.
Just a second. You're not sorry at all.
I apologize.
You're just a second. But you're not really not sorry because you haven't been able to contain yourself with the attitude.
I'm sorry, Judge, Your Honor.
Miss Edwards,
Yes, ma'am.
few questions. You don't remember anything about the gift
I
card,
do
so I
remember
can't ask.
something. I remember the gift cards. I don't remember the amount paid for the gift
Just
cards.
a second. Do you remember she gave you a gift card? But if you don't remember, you remember she gave you a gift card.
But I
You
gave her
remember
I gave her the $400 gift card back because she told me it was a mistake, and I gave it back to her, and she gave me the $100 one. She is lying.
Fine, just a second. What did you give her? Do you get where I'm going? Christmas. You remember she gave you a $100 gift card. What did you give her for Christmas?
She gave me a $400 gift card.
Pay attention.
I am.
Now you remember she gave you a $100 gift card for Christmas. She had given you $400 one. Said you gave it up. Speaking. You gave it back to her and said that she gave you a $100 one. My question to you is a simple one, and I'm speaking English.
Yes.
What did you give her for Christmas in 2017?
I don't.
Think careful. Okay, so let's say if you don't remember, you gave her zippity-doo, nothing. Now, are you on Section 8 housing?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have sometimes trouble paying your bills?
Never.
Sometimes.
Never.
Did you ever borrow money
Yes,
from...
ma'am.
So you borrowed money from her.
Yes.
So she was a nice person.
Yes.
Just a second.
So I
How many
borrowed.
times... I'm speaking.
Yes, ma'am.
How many times did you borrow money from her? Would you say prior to January of 2018?
Several.
More than 3?
Yes.
Okay. And whenever you needed money, you would go to her, and she's not a psychic, so you would say, I'm a little short this month. Can you help me out?
Yes.
And you would pay her back.
Right.
How many times did you lend her money?
Never.
How many times did you lend her money?
Never.
Never. 0. So that would be a 0 Christmas present and a 0 you being a friend to her. She lent you, she gave you a Christmas present. Now, that's not somebody that you call a liar.
She is a liar.
Just a second. That's not somebody that you call, that's not somebody that you have attitude about, because there's really only one attitude here. They pay me a lot of money for having attitude. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So she's not a bad person. Now, if she says to me,
She wasn't then, ma'am.
She was a bad person when she lent you the money? Was she a bad person when she lent you the money?
She was a nice person, but when I got to know her, I've seen the real her. She started using
You mean
my
after
address,
8 years?
ma'am.
You mean after 8 years?
No, way before. In 2014, she started using my address as her fake business. I have proof of that.
Who cares? Did you borrow money from her after that?
No. After.
Just a second. After she was using your address, are you telling me?
No, I did not.
You didn't borrow money from
No.
her. In what year did you say to me she started to use your address?
2014.
So after 2014 is what you're telling me you never borrowed money from her.
No.
14, 15, 16, and 17. Good. Now, did she give you the Christmas present in 2017?
She sold me the gift card. She didn't give it to me. It wasn't a Christmas present. She sold it to me.
That's not what you told me a moment ago.
Yes,
you said
ma'am.
she gave you a $400 one.
Yes,
and you
but
gave
I still paid for the card, but she gave me the $400 card by accident, and she told me that it was $400. I didn't know it, and I never went and bought anything. And, when she gave me the card, and we switched to the right card, that's when I went shopping.
Did you cut down her things? That's either a yes or a no.
I always decorate outside.
Did you cut down hers?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
This is not show and tell. So the answer is, no attitude here, my attitude.
Okay.
So the answer is, to my question, did you cut them down? The answer is yes.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Minnie Sanders says neighbor Tina Edwards vandalized and stole her property.
Okay, did you cut down hers?
No, I changed them to new ones. They was up there for 5 years. They were torn and colored.
How did you, just a second, change them? I want you to tell me, I'm looking at them here. I'm looking at them here, and I want you to tell me the method that you used to change them. Did you unloop them?
No.
From the bottom or the top? No. Did you use a scissors?
With the scissors,
That's
because
what
I'm going to
just a
replace
second.
them, ma'am.
Listen to me
with
carefully.
ones.
This is not show and tell. So the answer is, no attitude here, my attitude.
Okay.
So the answer is, to my question, did you cut them down? The answer is yes.
Not to be mean or anything, Your Honor. Yes, I did. But I was trying to make her happy.
Okay. So far, I went to law school, a little bit after law school. So far, I'm not impressed with your case. I'm impressed that you're frustrated with her. What's next?
Okay, next, Judge. I called the police. I went and called the police,
and
they came out, and they said I couldn't arrest her because, it'd be her word against mine. So they like suggested that the best thing for me to do is get a surveillance camera. So that's what I did the next week, because the manager.
Tell me what the police said. So the next thing you did, after you saw her cutting down your decorations.
Yes, ma'am. And the hole in the bed.
You got a surveillance camera.
Yes, ma'am.
And
she started calling the owner of the building, saying I was violating her privacy
because you pointed the security camera towards her door.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
And they made you take it down.
Yes.
What else?
They made me take it down.
They made you take it down.
Because she said,
I don't care why.
Okay.
They made you take it down.
They made me take it down.
The management made you take it down because you weren't supposed to put it there. What's next?
No, the manager came and saw it and told me it was okay for me to have it.
Don't
what they
tell
said,
me
right?
What they said.
Okay.
You took it down.
Yes, ma'am.
What's next?
Then they started sending me notices, to vacate because they're steady getting complaints from Miss Edwards about me. And Judge, I go to work at 1:30 every day. I don't miss no days at work. I'm not home until 12 o'clock at night.
Did they evict you?
No, they didn't evict me because I went ahead and took the camera down. They wanted me to take it down, and I took it down.
So far, this is not. You see what I mean? You see what I mean?
I'm so
You're really not sorry.
Can I just ask you, am I going to get a chance to speak? Ma'am, please.
No, you have no counterclaim. I'm trying to see. So far, I'm not seeing a case. What's the point in you speaking if I'm not seeing a case? So far, you have no case. I want you to forget everything you told me about the gift card, about the tchotchkes hanging.
Okay.
I want you to forget about the security camera that you bought, that you had to take down or you didn't have to take down. What's next?
I cannot enjoy my own patio for her and her guests sitting out there. They don't sit in this chair of hers that she wanted to put up. They sit right in my door and my furniture and talk about me all while they're there. And what somebody named James, they're going to get to come over. He can take this down. He can do this to her. I feel threatened, Jeff. Jeff.
Just a second.
Jeff.
Just a second. Listen to me. I don't necessarily blame you. I can tell she's a woman that has a bad attitude.
Yes.
You're going to have to move.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today.
So you made a handsome profit.
Yes and no.
No, that's neither the yes or no. You made a handsome profit. If you tripled your money, that's a handsome profit.
It depends.
Depends on nothing. You sold the property. You made a profit.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Minnie Sanderson's neighbor Tina Edwards vandalized and stole her property.
She's not going to move out of her Section 8 housing. That's the best advice I can give you. You're going to have to move. You have no legal case against her. And if she's making your life miserable living there, and you're a working lady that never misses a day to work, and you go into work every day at 1:30, go find a place where you can have peaceful enjoyment of your apartment. She's not moving.
Judge, I didn't want to move. I was peaceful in my apartment. I just wanted to stop calling me.
What do you want me to do?
I want her to stop harassing me.
Stop harassing me. Listen to me. Stop harassing her.
Yes, ma'am.
I just told her. So what? Stop harassing her. We're done.
What is that excuse for me to step out?
You're not supposed to be harassing neighbors.
I'm a good person. I'm a good neighbor.
Because I found out what type of person she was.
We were friends.
I work every day. She doesn't do anything but sit home.
God, see through all those lies that she was trying to tell on me.
I'm helping her, and you started downing me to people.
I saw the true person she really is.
I am a concierge. She doesn't know what that means.
I've never done anything wrong to Miss Sanders.
Because I would take this and I'm going to use it.
It's not over. Not at all.
So this is my first step.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter, Smith versus Geis. Step forward.
Lisa Smith is suing her former tenant, William Geis, for vandalism, property damage, and the cost to remove junk.
Miss Smith, Mr. Geis was a tenant of yours for about 4.5 years in a townhouse that you owned. When did you sell it?
February this year.
What did you pay for it? Stop playing your papers.
115.
What?
115.
And what did you sell it for?
360.
So you made a handsome profit.
Yes and no.
No, that's neither the yes or no. You made a handsome profit. If you tripled your money, that's a handsome profit.
It depends.
It depends on nothing. So this is what you're suing him for. You moved out when, sir?
I moved out on September 30th.
And what you're suing him for is $5,000 because you claim that he caused damage to the place.
Correct.
You have no cause of action. You sold the property. You made a profit. I'm not looking at your bills to clean up the property. I'm not looking at your bills at all. All I'm doing is entertaining his counterclaim for his security deposit back. Do we understand each other?
No.
Perfect. No. Ridiculous. Now, you terminated your tenancy. How much security deposit did you have?
It was $1,897.
You you do a walkthrough prior to your leaving in
Yes,
September?
Your Honor.
May I see it?
It's number 49 on the timeline.
Have you tried to get your security deposit back from her?
Yes, I have, Your Honor, and she has denied my opportunity to receive my security deposit.
You moved out on the 30th, correct?
May I speak, Your Honor?
No. So, at worst, this is what the property manager found at the final walkthrough. Carpets had been cleaned, but should be replaced. Right, after 4.5 years, they should be replaced. That's what your property manager said.
I already took him to arbitration. It's
Listen,
not true.
You took who to arbitration?
The tenant and the property manager. It's not
Which
true.
tenant?
This tenant.
Then what are you doing here?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
What are you doing here?
Your Honor,
Because
mediation
he
issue went
refused to
off
pay
the
anything, and I was taking him to small claims court.
I don't actually care about you because your case is dismissed.
His damages were.
Your case is dismissed.
You haven't
This
even
is
heard
what-
about the damages.
Listen to me. You sold your property for 3 times as much as you paid for it.
No, I didn't get that money. I had to pay for all of the damages out of that. The damages were over $55,000.
Listen to me carefully, madam. You're not getting any money. Not a penny. Your property manager wrote, carpets had been cleaned but should be replaced.
Carpets were not cleaned. They were full of dog urine. When I walked in, you couldn't even stand in there because it smelled so bad of dog
amount
urine.
of $1,897. We're finished here.
Sorry, sir. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I'm happy actually with the decision.
There's tagging on the walls.
There was no vandalism in the apartment.
The repairs were over and beyond.
I was due for my security deposit back.
That the tenant was not held accountable.
Not having my security deposit given to me when I moved out was unjust.
He was not responsible for his damages for letting guests stay in the home against the contract.
I always have a contract.
Welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
What is your last name, sir?
Palafox?
Are you the owner of Fish Gallery?
No, ma'am, I'm the operations manager.
Were you the one who had dealings with Mr. Winston?
No, ma'am, not directly.
Never.
No, ma'am.
Ah, well, this is going to make this case very easy for me. Who's the owner?
Roger.
And who manages the store?
Paul.
Paul, the person who sold you the tank?
No, I bought the tank from another store employee.
Do you remember his name?
I know the service manager's name, Eric, and he's the one who delivered my fish tank.
Who was Paul? Did you ever deal with a Paul?
He's the general manager in Dallas.
Did you ever speak to him?
No, not until I saw him later in the legal proceeding.
What legal proceedings?
Well, when the complaint was filed by Fish Gallery, that's when I had contact with him.
Did you ever see him in court?
Yes.
Which court?
Court in Collin County.
Is that the small claims court?
Yes.
What happened with that case?
It was not settled.
Did they send it out to be settled? What happened with it?
We did not decide settlement and mediation.
So you went through mediation?
Yes.
And then they referred it back to court?
Yes.
And that's why we're here?
Yes.
Got it. Okay. This is your problem. You don't know anything. Some employee of Fish Gallery INC, is that the name of the company that you work for?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sold Mr. Winston a fish tank. Very expensive, almost $4,000. It supposedly was a custom-made fish tank.
Yeah.
Right? And they charged his credit card, and he paid for the fish tank. And it was delivered, and it was defective, correct?
Yes.
So you can't tell me anything, because the owner of your store and the manager of the store who dealt with him and the person who sold him a fish tank, they decided not to come and to send you to be the sacrificial lamb to my mouth.
Your Honor, we're a small company.
You don't know anything. What you know is hearsay, is inadmissible, so that I can take all of my facts from the defendant. Do you understand? So this is the story as I get it. Sold him a fish tank, $3,800 plus, charged it to his credit card, delivered the fish tank. He called within a couple of days, is that right? And said this fish tank is defective and he has scratches on it.
Within 1 day I called.
Good, within 1 day. And
But in their complaint they stated that...
No, don't.
Okay.
Don't talk yourself into a loss.
Okay.
Understand?
Yes.
Good. So, I'm just going to ask you a couple of general questions which don't require a hearsay response. The salespeople that you have are paid on salary and commission?
No, ma'am, they're paid hourly and commission.
Hourly and commission. So they make the most substantial part of their money on commission.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So the salesman who spoke to and had dealings, who's not here, who spoke to Mr. Winston, he said the fish tank's defective. defective. They sent somebody out, and it took days to get somebody to come out there and look at it. This is a huge fish tank.
Correct.
And they said, we'll get you a replacement.
Yes.
This was on what date?
Well, I called March 29th, they delivered the tank. On March the 30th, I called to complain about damages to the tank.
When did they come out?
And they came out February the 3rd, I believe it was.
Well, they can't come out before you complain, so if this was March 29th.
April 3rd. I'm sorry, April 3rd.
Okay, and then they said you would have a replacement when?
They said within a week.
So when you didn't get a replacement or hear from them within a week, what did you do?
So I followed up with Eric, the service manager, who delivered the tank.
Okay. Does he also get a commission?
No, ma'am.
Just the salesman?
Just the salesman, yes.
And to make a long story much shorter, you were promised a new tank within a week and you didn't get it.
Correct.
You ultimately, after a month, went to the store to find out where your tank was.
Correct.
And who did you meet with? What's the name of the person?
I met with Eric.
Who's the service manager?
The facility manager.
And Eric, because they can't tell me what happened, Eric said what to you?
At first, he offered me $200.
$200. So you paid $3,800 for a big fish tank, and now they've sort of, how do you say that, non-Brooklynese? They sort of played around with you for a month, hoping you would go away. And then they said, we'll take $400 off the tank. Go away.
Yes.
And you said no.
Correct.
And then what happened?
So
right now you've been charged for the tank.
Correct.
And you put in a request to the credit card company that the merchandise was defective.
Correct.
To reverse the charge.
Yes.
In the meantime, according to what he would like to tell me if he could speak, they ordered another tank.
Correct.
Do you have either tank?
I have the first one they delivered, yes.
And you're more than happy to give it back to them?
Well, right now, I don't think I should give the tank
Well,
back.
right now, let me explain something to you, because that's what their lawsuit is about, Mr. Winston. Right now, they say that they had two tanks, that they brought one to your house, they brought another one. Forget the fact that they brought another one because your service manager was disrespectful when he said, we'll give you $200 off. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
But right now, you have a fish tank that you're happy with. And if you're not happy with it, you can give it back.
And they've had ample opportunity to pick the fish tank up since...
They're going to pick it up.
Since March the 30th.
Just a second. They're going to pick it up. And I'm going to tell you, they're going to pick it up with a marshal within 5 days of today's order. Do you understand?
Yes.
Great. Because that's what we call sort of an unjust enrichment. You say, well, I really don't like the fish tank, and they did the wrong thing, but I'm going to keep it anyway and not pay for it. Forget him. He hasn't said a word, right? That's what you want me to do? That sounds reasonable to you?
No, I was just saying that, Your Honor, based on the fact that I've had the property at my location since March 29th, and they've had ample opportunity to pick the property up.
No, there was a lawsuit started. You went to mediation. All that took time. You went back to court. There had to be paper served. All of that took time, okay?
Your Honor, may I speak?
No. No. What the owner should have done of your company is sent somebody who had first-hand information somewhere about this, and that's not you.
What I'm about to say is not regarding what happened before the fact. It's after the fact. When we get back a used aquarium, it depreciates value by 60%.
I don't care. So if what you're saying is you don't want this aquarium back because it's depreciated, I could do that. That means you get nothing. I don't think that Mr. Winston should be enriched by having a fish tank that he's enjoying if he says it's defective. The credit card company reversed the charges, so he really got something for nothing. Your company has to be punished because you were disrespectful to a customer. Your salesman got a commission, didn't want to lose that commission, played around with him for a month. I'm trying to figure out another way to say that. For what? Well, even that's not. Even that's not. And then said, get rid of him because we made $2,000 on this fish tank, so we'll give him a couple of $100 on the fish tank and he'll go away. Well, he wasn't prepared to do that.
The reason that they did that was because the tank was on back order. It wasn't something that was in our control. And whenever they called the vendor to try to get a new tank, they back ordered it.
That
Once we did get it was a week later after they had spoke to him.
That's not his fault. That's your fault. You should not have sent a defective tank to begin with. Your company thought it could get away with sending a tank that was scratched, not brand new. Somebody spends $4,000 on a fish tank. They want something that if there's a scratch on it, it's a scratch that they put on it, or one of their friends or family or a kid or a grandchild put on it, but not come to them scratched. So you didn't do the right thing. So the fact that now when you pick up this fish tank, because I'm going to give you an order to pick up the fish tank if he needs a marshal to come to his house, the fact that it's depreciated in value is too bad for you. You didn't sell him a brand new one. Did you see a display model on the floor of what you wanted?
No, not of what I wanted.
Our showroom consists of display models. Everything that's on the floor gets bought by the customer there.
Just a second.
We don't have backstock.
Did you buy something that's in the store?
No, it's not in the store.
Where?
It's custom made.
You ordered it on what date?
On February the 2nd.
And it was delivered on March 29th.
Correct.
Sir?
Yes.
That doesn't sound like it was in the store.
If I'm not mistaken, there's a discount off of the original prices. We were running a sale on that size tank because the manufacturer offered a sale price for those custom aquariums. It being 72 inches, it's something that is custom, but yet a lot of people ask for that measurement.
That's a lot.
We had those in store on.
So why didn't you send it to him from February 2nd to March 29th?
When Eric scheduled it on, I believe it was March the 2nd. They had scheduled it, and then on the second paper, they moved it to March 29th from 10 to 12.
Me very carefully, sir. If what you're telling me is that this was an in-stock item that you had, and if he ordered it on February 2nd, it should have been delivered to him on February 4th, not March 2nd. If what your salesman was doing was telling him that this is a custom-made tank that we have to order out for you, and in order to justify that, he held off delivery of something that you say you had in the store for a month in order to say, well, there was a custom-made tank for you, and what you sold him was something that you had in the store already, that's a little more chicanery. Do you understand what I'm saying to you, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
the two of you had one car.
No.
How many cars were there in the household for the 2 months that you lived together?
It's a bit more complicated than
No, I'm not. Listen,
okay.
You can make it more complicated, sir. I'm going to uncomplicate it.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Aquarium store operations manager Simon Palafox says customer Ronald Winston owes for the value of a custom-made fish tank.
Now, if what your salesman was doing was telling him that this is a custom-made tank that we have to order out for you, and in order to justify that, he held off delivery of something that you say you had in the store for a month, that's a little more chicanery. Do you understand what I'm saying to you, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
That's like saying, we have to custom make this dress. Get the dress from the back, put it aside, hold off for a month before you send it so we could say, well, we had it custom made to your measurements. And then you get it. That's what you told it. That's what you just said to me. Do you understand that that's what you just said to me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, well, that sounds ridiculous. Okay, so do you want the fish tank or not?
No, I do not want the fish tank.
Great. 5 days from today's date, you make arrangements to go and pick up the fish tank. Then you have your property back. We're done. Thank you.
What is our excuse? You may step out.
Yes, there was some damages to the tank, and unfortunately, it took a little bit longer to be able to get the replacement tank.
Very happy with our decision. I don't think I received a custom-made tank.
And we did fault at that, and that was...
And they pretty much verified that today.
The reason that we offered the $200, to try to...
There were scratches on the glass, all around the glass, on all three sides of it.
Make up for some of the time that he had been waiting for the tank to come in.
Just make sure you do some research first before you deal with certain companies.
Yeah, definitely. We would have to talk to our salespeople, make sure we inspect products before they go out the door.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Shrek versus Mullet. Step forward.
James Shrek is suing his ex-girlfriend, Jennifer Mullet, for the return or value of a Lexus and lost wages.
Mr. Shrek, how long did you and the defendant live together?
Roughly about 2 months.
How long did you know each other before you lived together for 2 months?
8 years.
Were you dating for those 8 years?
On and off.
Did you ever live at her house during those 8 years?
No.
Did she ever live at your house for those 8 years?
Not until
this period?
Yes.
During those 8 years, were you sort of an exclusive relationship with the defendant?
To my knowledge, I thought it was.
You thought it was?
Yes, somewhat, yes.
Okay. The case is a relatively simple one. You say that she took your car.
Yes, ma'am.
When the two of you split up. She says you gave her the car.
What happened?
Just don't tell me what happened.
Okay.
Now, we have a car. The car is how old?
1998.
And when you were living together, how many cars did you have?
One.
Was that the 1998?
Yes, ma'am.
And how many cars did you have?
I only had one car.
Which car?
The Lexus.
What year?
98.
So the two of you had one car?
No.
How many cars were there in the household for the 2 months that you lived together?
It's a bit more complicated than just...
No, I'm not. Listen,
okay.
You can make it more complicated, sir. I'm going to uncomplicate it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You drove the car, you tried to get it back, you sold it to somebody else. At that point, you were playing games with each other.
No.
No?
No.
Did you, in fact, sell the car to somebody else after she left?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
James
says ex-girlfriend Jennifer Mullet fraudulently registered his car under her name.
Now, the two of you had one car.
No.
How many cars were there in the household for the 2 months that you lived together?
It's a bit more complicated than just...
No, I'm not. Listen,
Okay.
you can make it more complicated, sir. I'm going to uncomplicate it. When you were living apart for 8 years, did you have a car?
Yes, I've had multiple different cars over the 8 years.
For the last 5 years?
Multiple different cars over the last 5 years.
When was the 1998 car purchased?
Roughly 2 months before we moved into the house.
Not roughly. When did you move into the house?
June of 2017.
And when did you move out of the house?
August 13th, 2017.
Were you together when the car was purchased? Together, physically together?
No.
Was it purchased from a dealer or from a private person?
Private person off of Craigslist.
Who found the car?
I did.
When you went to see the car of this private person, who took you?
Nobody. He came to me with the car.
You did not have a car at the time?
No, I had just sold my other car and used that money to purchase this car.
So the purchaser came to you with this car?
Yes, ma'am.
Came to your home?
At a Burger King next to my house.
How much was the car?
$1,250.
And 2 months later, you and the defendant moved in together?
Yes, ma'am.
So who did you purchase the car from?
I didn't purchase the vehicle.
He purchased the car?
Yes.
So I assume that I can rely on what he said to me, that that's how the car was purchased?
Correct.
Okay. Now, 2 months before you moved in together, what kind of car were you driving?
I didn't. I wasn't.
You had no car?
I had no car.
6 months before you moved in together, did you have a car?
No car.
When you purchased the car, did you register it?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
Because it was still currently registered and...
In whose name?
The person I bought it from.
Yes, but you're supposed to take it out of his name and put it in your name.
I understand that, ma'am, yes.
Because otherwise he's responsible for the car.
You're correct, ma'am.
I know I'm correct.
Yes, I disagree.
Well, why didn't you register the car?
Because with moving into the new house, I didn't have the funds to transfer the title.
Oh, well, you knew that wasn't the right thing to do.
I don't deny that at all.
And the person that you purchased the car from let you take his license plates.
Yes, that's...
What do you mean, yes?
I've never purchased a car without the license plates.
When you purchase a car with, if somebody is stupid enough to give you the license plates, you're supposed to register the car within 24 hours and return the license plates to motor vehicles.
I've never had to ever do that here with a car.
What do you do when you register a car?
They just give you, if it needs new tags, they just give you a new tag and put it on the plates. Other than a lien sale that I bought, I've never had to return the plates.
Did you have insurance on the car?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Schreck, I am disinclined to help you at all.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, who has the car now?
Nobody.
Where is it?
I sold it. It broke down.
She sold it. You see, Mr. Schreck, what you're suggesting happened with your car is that she took the pink slip and went and registered the car herself and sold it.
She drove it for 6 to 8 months before she sold it.
So?
Okay. She didn't pay for the car, and I didn't give it to her. And if it was supposed to be in anybody's name, it should have been in my name.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Okay. You're correct.
Right? Shoulda, woulda, coulda. I don't know when she registered the car.
4 to 5 days after she left borrowing the car.
Mr. Schreck, I'm not helping you, sir. This is the reason that I'm not helping you. When you come to court is a place of equity. You're supposed to do the right thing. And what you did was the wrong thing. You put somebody else at risk. You purchased somebody's car, and because you were busy and didn't have money, you drove around without registering the car.
Okay.
Your girlfriend at the time was just fine with that. She drove the car, and you drove the car. You were living together for 2 months. You split up. She took the car with her. Well, she drove the car. You tried to get it back. You sold it to somebody else, but you can't sell it to somebody else because you hadn't registered it yourself. At that point, you were playing games with each other.
No.
No?
No. The night that she left the car...
Did you, in fact, sell the car to somebody else after she left? No, that's either a yes or a no.
I attempted to get something back from the car because I knew she was trying to take it.
Did you, in fact?
Yes, I did.
Goodbye, folks. You don't have the car anymore?
No.
She doesn't have the car anymore. We're done. Thank you.
Parties are excused. May step up.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I did work in exchange for the car, and he had another vehicle there too that was registered to him. And I just took did what I was supposed to. That he goes about his way and leaves me alone. Do the right thing. Pay your bills. Protect yourself. Pay your bills and be accountable.
Judge Fires have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Miss Watson, I'm going to start with you. I gather there is a large space that you rent.
Yes, ma'am.
How many square feet do you rent?
That's 2,500
100 plus square feet.
And then you sublet that space to other people for commercial purposes.
Yes.
And one of the people that you sublet to was the plaintiff. And you sublet to her for the purpose of running a beauty salon out of a small space. How many square feet?
Maybe 300 square feet.
And on what date did you start your tenancy?
April the 6th, 2018.
Do you have a written lease?
Yes.
I'd like to take a look at it. How long had you been renting the 2,500 square feet?
Since December of last year.
What? This says that you're not to use the property in any way other than as a private single-family residence?
Yes, I thought the lease was crazy too, but that's the lease
That's
she
the
gave
first thing that it says.
It was a mistake in the lease, Your Honor.
Well, you prepared the lease.
I did.
I said you prepared the lease.
I did. I actually got it from a lease app that I printed it from.
That's the first sentence, and it's wrong.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. This is ridiculous. And I can't believe you signed it. Didn't you read it?
Yes, but I wanted to get into work.
Okay. This is what happened. At some point, the building was sold. And when you started your business, and I don't know how many days a week you worked there. How many days a week did you actually use the salon?
7 days.
And you came into work one day on a Friday, and there were no lights.
Yes.
On what date was that?
That was August the 3rd, 2018.
Okay. Now, for the months of April, May, June, and July, was she current in her rent?
No.
She was not. How much did she owe you?
Approximately $600.
So she hadn't paid you any rent?
No, she did pay rent, but it was all late.
I don't care if it was late or not. Was she current in her rent? Did she pay you for April, May, June, and July? Is my question.
Yes, Your Honor, she did.
Fine. So she was current in her rent. And when you came into work, the lights were out. A reading of your answer suggests that the lights were out because the building had been sold. And the new owner of the building hadn't turned the lights on their account. Anyway, she had no lights. Had a fast tape and no electricity. She couldn't work.
Fair.
That is what we call constructive eviction. You have constructively evicted her. Because if she can't perform the work that she was supposed to do, and you know it was a beauty salon, and she can't operate a beauty salon in the dark, and without electricity to blow people's hair and to do whatever you have to do, she can't do the work. So that takes care of your countersuit, because your countersuit is you want her to pay, because she left. You want her to pay for the entire lease. So I'm dismissing that. Have I explained that to you sufficiently? Do you understand it?
I don't.
Well, I'm going to try one more time. You're the landlord. You know that the place is being rented as a commercial premises so that she can take care of hair. You're her landlord. Nobody else is on this lease. Even though it's a stupid lease, nobody else is on this lease. When she has no electricity, she can't work. You haven't barred her by putting up bars and changing the locks so that she can't get into work, but she effectively can't work because she has no electricity. In the law, we call that a constructive eviction.
Your Honor.
What?
Even if it was not, I did not know that.
Who cares whether you knew it or not?
Okay.
It's your responsibility to know it. You're the landlord.
We even offered her free rent.
I don't care what you offer. You're suing her, countersuing her. I'm taking care of your counterclaim.
Yes, ma'am.
Your counterclaim is for the year's rent because she moved out. I'm dismissing that because you evicted her, in effect. Yeah. You left.
I was having...
You left?
Yes.
When? On what date?
On August the 3rd, when I had a conversation with her, she told me to pack my things and leave. I grabbed my bag and I left and called her that following Monday to pick up the rest of my belongings, and that's when she told me that everything was gone and stolen.
What was there that was gone and stolen?
Well, the station that I used was mounted on the walls, my chair, my station mat. I had a radio bar, a 19-inch television, and...
Do you have a photograph of your salon?
I have a video of it.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Okay. So in this video, I showed the original how the suite looked when I renovated it myself and was unhappy, and when I paid someone else to renovate it, and how the final look was.
I don't know what this is. Is this part of the video?
Yes, it has a girl with hair, but it's showing the background of how the salon, of how the suite was.
Your Honor, she wasn't even supposed to be in the suite that she's in, that she's showing you a video of. She wasn't even supposed to be there. She rented suite number 3. When my son and I went out to vacation and came back from Mexico, she had moved from suite 3 to suite 4.
On what date?
June 17th.
Did you tell her to move back?
I did.
Yeah. Did she continue? Did you take rent for July?
She and I had an agreement, Your Honor. When she moved to that suite, she and I agreed that she would pay the difference in the suite. She said that I told her she had permission to do that. In the lease, it states that in order for her
her to do that, she would have to have a written notice from us to say that she'd do that. She didn't have written permission.
I have a problem with you.
Okay, Your Honor.
The problem that I have is if she left because she says you told her to pack her things and leave because she wasn't happy because there were no lights. You were someplace else. And she said, I can't deal with this.
Father, but I didn't tell her that.
You couldn't deal with it until Monday. You weren't there. According to her, you told her to pack her things and leave. I don't know whether that happened or not. I want to see the police report, but you filed a police report that everything was stolen. May I see it, please?
And those things that are mentioned in the police report are my things. The building was broken.
Who was Terrence?
A friend of Charmaine's.
What made you indicate on the suspects, Terrence?
Because the door, when the police came out to investigate, the door where the entrance was, there was no broken window, no broken doors. They used keys to get in because there was no entrance, forced entrance.
Okay. Do you rent to anyone else?
Her friend.
Is this her friend?
No, I don't know who that is.
You rent to her and a friend?
Yes.
Well, why would you think it was her friend and not her?
Why would I think it was her friend and not her?
Yeah.
Because the door that was open was the door that her friend had access to. It was her suite where she did makeup in.
I see.
And Miss Charmaine threatened me.
Did you read the police report?
No.
Well, I'd like to take a look at it. There was no forced entry into the premises. The only door open was this Miss door. She reported all of her things missing. She's not responsible for your stolen items.
And Your
Honor,
Honor,
isn't.
can I mention, before that, the week before that, Charmaine sent me a text message telling me that she was going to nip it in the bud soon. So I'm not understanding why she would even send me that message, and then all of a sudden, we're out in Florida burying my dad, and I come back and the place is broken into.
I don't know. But she made a police report, so I can't hold her responsible.
Can I say something?
What?
Terenicia, who she says is a suspect, was a makeup artist that was running a booth in the same suite that we were in.
That's what she
and they met before I met with Terenicia. She's the one that recommended that I came to that suite.
What does that have to do with what I'm saying to you? What I'm saying to you is there was a suggestion in your complaint that the defendant stole your property. I'm saying if the defendant stole your property, it is unlikely that you would have filed a police report the next day, that somebody broke in and stole a lot of property, including her property, and that there was no evidence of forced entry, and the only open door was that she saw was the door to this Miss Suite where she did makeup. The only way you can hold the defendant responsible is if you can demonstrate either some real negligence on her part or that she took your property. Do you have any witnesses to the effect that she took your property?
Well, I didn't say she stole the property.
So then what do you think she's responsible for?
I said that when I was going back to receive the rest of my things, she said that everything was stolen out of the establishment. Yes. But I had mounted, if you look at the video, my station was mounted into the walls.
What difference does it make? You can take off a mounted television set. She's got 6 television sets missing. What do you think she's responsible for?
I think she's responsible for the salon getting broken into.
No, she's not. I'm telling you she's not. What's next? Did you pay her for August's rent?
I paid her for the first week of August.
When did you pay her for the first week in August?
July 31st.
How much did you pay her?
$125.
Was that July's rent or August's rent?
It's $125 a week, so that was August's rent.
That was July's rent.
Then you're going to have to show me all the rents.
Sure. Here it is. I pay her every Tuesday.
Thank you. What is this?
Those are Cash App receipts that show that every Tuesday that I paid her the $125, and July 31st was 3 days before the salon got broken into, and that would have covered me until August the 6th.
Okay, you're entitled to that back because you couldn't work that weekend. What else?
I work in the Weston area, but I live in the DeKalb area, which is about 35 minutes away.
Don't say things that are going to irritate me.
Okay, which is about 35 minutes away from the salon. Because of this, I have lost a lot of clients.
125, judgment for the plaintiff. We're done. Thank you very much. Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. They step out.
The defendant didn't care about the business.
I am just glad that this is over and that Judge Judy saw through Charmaine.
Broke into her own salon and got my stuff taken as well.
She's got stuff that now she can do it in her home from the stuff that she took from the salon.
I lost a few clients in the midst of it.
I guess it just didn't work out for her.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Loyola versus Cranny. Step forward.
Alexander and Stacy Loyola. are suing solar panel salesman John Cranny for damages after he trimmed their trees in order to install solar panels.
Mr. Cranny, do you have your own company?
Not yet, Your Honor.
Do you work for someone else?
Yes.
Who do you work for?
Well, I'm a 1099 salesperson.
Salesperson for whom?
For DeLion Electrical Contractors and Freedom Solar and a few other solar companies.
How long have you been doing that?
Since 2012.
When did you become a tree trimmer? No, that's not funny. When did you become a tree trimmer?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He was treating the house, and you can't tell the difference.
A tree goes like this. You cut off the top. It looked like you cut off somebody's head. What do you mean you didn't think anybody would mind? What does that mean, Mr. Cranny?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Alexander and Stacy Loyola claim solar panel salesman John Cranny owes for damages when he trimmed their trees in order to install solar panels.
Okay, when did you become a tree trimmer?
Ever since I was probably 12, old enough to climb a tree.
Are you licensed?
For tree trimming?
Yes. Are you licensed, bonded for tree trimming, taking down trees? Are you licensed, bonded, or insured?
No.
How long have you been doing tree trimming without being licensed, bonded, or insured?
Well, I don't tree trim. I just sell solar.
Just a second. So you don't do tree trimming?
I don't do tree trimming, but when the occasion arises that a few branches need to be trimmed for solar to be put up, I will trim the tree so that the solar will hit the roof.
Without having insurance?
Correct.
Without being licensed?
Correct.
That's very stupid.
It's
That's
not.
very stupid.
Yes.
Because this is what this case is about. You were referred to the plaintiffs because they were interested in solar paneling. You came out, you said before you could install solar paneling for them, you had to trim some trees. And for that, you were going to charge money. How much money?
$500.
That was in addition to the commission that you were going to be making selling the solar panels, which is your regular line of business.
Correct.
And let's take the best case scenario for you. The best case scenario for you is you screwed up a little bit, and when you were tree trimming, you damaged a fence.
Correct.
Which you had to fix.
Correct.
And then, according to the plaintiffs, which you don't acknowledge, you also trimmed trees that you weren't supposed to trim that belonged to the homeowners association.
Correct.
And they got fined for it.
Correct.
That's why we're here.
Correct.
Do you have photographs to show me?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see the photographs, Mr. Loyola. I'd like to see photographs of your house with the trees, where the homeowners' trees are. You had a eucalyptus tree that had to be trimmed. That's where he damaged the fence, but he fixed the fence.
Yes, he did. It wasn't just the fence. He also damaged trellis from my neighbor, and also sprinkler's pipe and sprinkler's head in my house, on the house.
Can I see what he trimmed of your property? I'd like to see pictures so I can get an idea.
This is the tree after he trimmed it.
Do you have any photographs of the trees before he trimmed them?
No, I don't.
I do, yeah.
I'd like to see that.
Okay, so this is...
Just a second. Pay attention. Mr. Cranny has photographs of the trees before he trimmed them.
Okay.
Which I'd like to see first. Thank you. Listen to me, I can't see a thing on this picture. I don't know what you're trying to show me, but I can't see a thing on this picture.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You can trim the tree so that it looks normal.
I just want to see what you consider. You trimming the tree so it looks normal.
So the tree on the right is...
You think that looks normal?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Alexander and Stacy Loyola claim solar panel salesman John Cranny owes for damages when he trimmed their trees in order to install solar panels.
On this picture, I want you to make a circle. This is Mr. Cranny's picture. I want you to make a circle on the trees that he was supposed to cut, and then make an X on the homeowners' trees. An X on the homeowners' trees. Okay, do you have what the pictures? I can't see this. So I want you to show me the trimming that he did on... He trimmed the home. Is this your house?
Yes.
Why in the world would you trim that tree? It's a perfectly healthy tree.
Right.
What did you do to this tree?
I just trimmed the top about 10 feet off the top. It was shading the roof, only reason why. That's why I didn't think anybody would mind, because it was shading the house, and you can't tell the difference.
A tree goes like this. You cut off the top, it looks like you cut off somebody's head. What do you mean you didn't think anybody would mind? What does that mean, Mr. Cranning?
Right, so you can trim the tree so that it looks normal.
I just want to see what you consider. You trimming the tree so it looks normal. Show me a photograph.
So the tree on the right is...
You think that that looks normal?
I
you think that this looks normal?
I didn't get to finish.
Oh, Mr. Cranning, that's absolutely outrageous. Absolutely outrageous.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Did he pay you any money?
Yes.
How much did he pay you?
He paid me $250.
And how much was your bill from the Homeowners Association for cutting down that tree?
$1,450.
I'd like to see it.
And that's the letter from the association and everything in the back.
Yeah, it looks ridiculous. There was no way for the association to repair the damage to the tree.
And I also have an email from the former HOA manager to John stating that he was responsible for everything else.
Well, I'm holding him responsible. I don't need somebody else to hold him responsible. And also for giving you your money back. Now, you say that there was damage to the sprinkler system. I wanted to see that.
No, I don't have a picture or anything like that.
Okay, fine. Then he owes you $1,650. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Auditor, excuse me, step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I think it was fair. I like it.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed about that.
Those 3 trees belong to the Homeowners Association.
The Homeowners Association was very upset.
Just make sure they got someone that's licensed and insured.
I'm happy that more solar is going up, and so the more solar that goes up, the better.
Was your claim that you made a loan to the defendant for her rent? Ms. Rabb said that what you were was more than generous with her. Even though you knew her only briefly, you knew she was in some financial difficulty, and you took care of paying up her back rent as a gift. That's what she says.
No, Your Honor.
I'm just telling you that that's what she says. I told you what you said in your complaint. That's what she said in her answer. So, Ms. Rabb, I'm going to start with you rather than Mr. Whitaker, since in your answer it doesn't seem that you disagree with the fact that he did, in fact, clean up your back rent.
Yes.
So I'm going to find out a little bit about you. And Mr. Whitaker, how old are you?
40.
You have kids?
2.
How old?
12 and 14.
And you live alone with you and the 2 children?
Yes.
How long have you lived in the same apartment?
It was a year in June.
And you work in a bar?
Part-time, yes.
Where do you work the other part-time?
Full-time, I'm a loan officer.
Loan officer where?
Global Equity Finance.
So you work full-time there?
Yes.
For how long?
I started at the beginning of May.
Well, that's just recently,
Yes.
May of 18. I want you to tell me what you did full-time last year.
Last year was tough. I was let go from 4 different positions in the year 2017. 2 different mortgage companies that decided to close their San Diego branches. A restaurant management position that I was let go from because my children...
You don't have to give me a because your because and their because may be different. What else?
And then prior to that, I was a PR director for a design build firm.
For how long?
I was there for 6 months.
So you've not had, what I could hear, a reasonable, consistent way of supporting yourself.
Yes, that is true.
Tell me what your rent is in this apartment.
$12.95.
Do you get child support for the 2 children?
There is an order in place, however, no.
So the answer is you don't get any money. Having an order does not put food on the table. So the answer is no. So you support yourself and the 2 children from part-time bartending.
Yes.
How many times in the year have you fallen behind in your rent?
4 times.
And when you've fallen behind in your rent, has that been for more than 2 months?
Yes, it was cumulative.
So it's been 3 months. How many times have you been served with notices of eviction?
None.
So you always made up the rent?
One of my girlfriends is a property manager and understands my...
Don't tell me what she understands. I asked you whether you ever been served with an eviction notice. You said no. My next question to you was, have you made up that rent when you fell behind?
Yes.
In bulk?
You know, it was in payments.
Now, as a part-time bartender, you're not making enough to cover your expenses, your children's expenses, and the rent.
Correct.
So you want to tell me how you do it?
Like I said, my girlfriend is my property manager, and she is lenient with that.
Now, you met Mr. Whitaker where?
I was doing a live stream on social media, and he was one of the followers.
Since I'm not really involved with all that, social media live stream stuff, you must have had plenty of times working part-time, so you are live streaming, and you met him in cyberspace.
Yes.
When did you meet him in person?
March, April 2018.
And when you met him in March or April of 2018, how far behind were you in your rent?
Around 3 months.
Now, you met him on social media, Miss Rao, and at some point you must have decided to meet. Where did you decide to meet?
At the bar that I part-time at.
So you told him where you worked?
Yes.
So you invited him to come meet you. Now, at some point you were having a chat with him, and you had to have told him, because it's not something that otherwise comes up in conversation, I'm 3 months behind in my rent. Tell me where that took place.
I don't remember if it was in person or phone conversation or text.
You don't remember? It wasn't so long ago. I'd like you to remember. And if you don't remember, just this is what happens if you don't remember. If you don't remember, then I'm going to ask Mr. Whitaker.
Okay.
And then I'm not going to hear you say, oh, now I remember. So if you don't remember, tell me. If you want to think for a moment, tell me. Otherwise, I'm going to ask him.
I want to say it was a combination of all three. We would have, daily conversations on the phone. We would text each other every morning, and for a while there, he was coming to the bar every Saturday. So it could have been a combination of all three.
Well, during that period of time, did you have an intimate relationship with Mr. Whitaker?
Not.
Did not?
No.
So it was a friendly relationship?
Yes.
So what I'm asking you is, with a man that you don't know, that you just met on the internet, who you do not have an intimate relationship with, I want to know how you approach the subject of getting your back rent paid.
I want to say we were just talking about finances. I had just started the new job at the mortgage company, and I think we were just talking about finances, just my life, what, as a single mom, what I'm up against right now. And I honestly don't remember how it exactly came about.
You want to tell me?
Yes.
Very good. Give you your chance.
I want to make one quick correction to what Michelle had said, which we only talked we didn't talk on the phone daily. We talked on the phone maybe 2 times over the period of time. We did meet a couple times.
Who is this?
This is someone I'm dating. Her name is Lisa.
Well, what is she here for?
She's here because she was the one after the fallout of all this was able to put together that Mike, you just got scammed.
You needed her to tell you that? I don't know why you brought her. That's sort of ridiculous. Where do you come from? What state?
We came up from San Diego.
So you're in California. It wasn't such a long ride. We didn't have to pay much for her to get here. Now, I'm back to the conversation.
Okay, on June 18th, I received a text message from Michelle stating me I have...
I said, don't... You received the text message. I'll look at it. Did you send him this text?
Yes.
Okay, I'll take it back. Odd.
Our relation.
I
see this. This doesn't talk about rent.
I have another thing of text that talks about how financially hurting she was.
Okay. Well, what it's suggesting is you're willing to do whatever is necessary to get money, even if it's something that you hadn't done before. That's what these texts are suggesting, and suggesting it to a friend with whom, according to you, you hadn't been intimate. Get to the rent.
After seeing that, I was very concerned. I offered to help her out.
So what did you say to her, and where were you? Were you on the phone? Were you
we were texting. I was in my car driving. I believe she was probably in her car driving.
You were texting while you were driving?
I have Android Auto. I can voice text with it.
I'd like to see the texts.
I don't have all the texts of us talking of the rent. The next group that I have for you is her saying that she 3 different ones that on 3 different occasions she said she would pay me back. I do have this one, Your Honor, that was the texting back and forth about paying the rent and her thanking me and saying that this situation was turning her tummy.
What triggers are we talking about?
I have often found that when money and men, it becomes a power struggle. It happened with my first ex-husband. As soon as a man feels like they have power over you, they can start demanding things. And I felt in this situation that the monetary piece of the puzzle was his power over me.
You mean the fact that he paid your rent?
Yes.
I don't necessarily disagree with you. That if you're a woman and a man, whether it be a boyfriend or a husband or a boss or anyone else, pays you, gives you an allowance, as they did in my grandmother's time, they feel as if there's a certain control. You're texting him and suggesting that you're prepared to become an escort to married men for money, which clearly puts the question of control and power in play. And here you have somebody with whom you had a friendship, and clearly within 4 weeks of meeting him, telling him what dire straits you're in, that you're prepared to do all kinds of things that are inconsistent with who you are in order to make money, and gives you money. What is he supposed to think? What's he supposed to think? You say in your texts back and forth to him that you would pay him back. That's what you say. Yes, of course I'll pay you back. What you say is, I'll pay you back. And your response to him, why wouldn't I pay you back? And then you start talking about these trigger things, these triggers, these controls. Well, now that's your excuse. Your excuse is, he triggered these bad memories for me about control. You triggered me twice. My trigger's my issue. I will work them through on my own. It appears that we will no longer be friends, Mike. I will reach out to you when I have money for you. Those are your words. So you told him you would pay him back. What's the issue? Why are we here?
It was almost just a placation to get him off my back at that point.
No, Miss Rapp, he wasn't on your back. And you said you would pay him back. How much did you pay her rent?
Right here, it shows evidence that shows I paid her $4,900 plus the fees for processing it. I have my bank history here. I have another one that shows that she's already 2.5 months behind on her rent again. And this one right here actually shows that she did make a $3,000 bulk payment a month before she hit me up for money.
You're still accessing my account?
You gave me a password.
But listen to me. Miss Rao, sometimes you pay the piper. Did you give him your account in order for him to put money in your account to pay your rent?
Yes.
Now you're complaining.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today.
What did you send him the $750 for that you gave you?
He had been discharged. I don't know if it was honorably or dishonorably.
Well, if they discharge you, they usually bring you home first. The military doesn't say goodbye to you and leave you in Afghanistan.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Michael Whitaker Jr. says, former friend Michelle Robb owes for a loan to pay rent.
Did you give him your account in order for him to put money in your account to pay your rent?
Yes.
Now you're complaining. Pay your own rent. You drive a car, Miss Rapp?
Yes.
What kind of car?
2003 Chevy Blazer.
Is it insured?
Yes.
Pay the insurance?
Yes.
Gotta pay your rent. Would you kindly just show me exactly what you paid for her rent?
It's in there. There's a payment on the 6/18, one for $3,000 and one for $1,900. And that's also
for A&S Realty?
Yes.
I got it. Charge it for the plaintiff in the amount of $4,900. We're finished.
What is her excuse? She may step out. I think she was fair. I think she saw through everything on the paperwork, what was really going on.
We had developed a genuine friendship.
And I'm very happy with the ruling.
A great human being, a very generous man. And then...
someone who's a friend that's in that bad of a situation or anything like that.
I got laid off 4 different times in the year 2017 and was going through divorce.
To not step in and help out if you have the means.
It's chaos. I'm doing the best I can.
I mean, you look out for your friends.
Then we can just throw up a deuce and go on our merry little ways.
I wish Michelle the best.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Knutson versus Schwager. Step forward.
Erin Knutson is suing her former friend, Amy Schwager, for a loan to bring her boyfriend back from Afghanistan.
Miss Schwager, you met somebody online.
Yes, I did.
Tell me when you met them online, what site you were on, and what the person's name was.
I met a gentleman online on Plenty of Fish, and I've known him for over 2 years.
Where does he live?
He lives in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
And where do you live?
Butterfield, Minnesota.
Had you ever met him personally?
We did video chat, and...
Had you ever met him personally?
No.
And how long have you been a friend of Miss Knutson?
I've known her for several years.
How many?
5, 6 years.
From where?
Butterfield, LaSalle, Minnesota.
I mean, did you know from work, socializing, did you have mutual friends? What kind of work?
Bartending.
Now, this guy that you met online and have been chatting with for 2 years, he traveled out of the country?
Yes, he did.
Where did he go?
He went overseas to Afghanistan, Nigeria.
For what?
Military.
So he's in the military, you think?
Yes.
You think he's
I think he's in the military.
And I'm assuming for the purposes of this case, not assuming that for the truth of what you're going to tell me, but only your motivation for asking for money from Miss Knutson. You did ask her for money.
I did.
And she did give you $750.
Correct.
And you sent her $750, and according to you, $2,000 of your money to this person who you had met online, who was Afghanistan?
I had sent him $750 and the rest later.
When?
Approximately 4 months later.
What did you send him the $750 for that she gave you?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What's that scam that people call you now? You know, I've been kidnapped in Afghanistan and please send $10,000 to this number or we're going to send home pieces of the finger. Only thing is, you believed it.
I did because
you believed it because that's what you wanted to believe.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Erin Knudsen is suing her former friend, Amy Schwager, for a loan to bring her boyfriend back from Afghanistan.
You sent her $750 and, according to you, $2,000 of your money to this person who you had met online who was in Afghanistan.
I had sent him $750 and the rest later.
The rest when?
Approximately 4 months later.
What did you send him the $750 for that she gave you?
He had been discharged.
You mean he'd been kicked out of the army?
He had been discharged. I don't know if it was honorably or dishonorably.
Well, if they discharge you, they usually bring you home first. They don't leave you in Afghanistan. They don't say goodbye. The military doesn't say goodbye to you and leave you in Afghanistan.
He had stated to me on an occasion that he was discharged, that they would not help him home.
This is some government. Get you in the army and then they send you thousands of miles away and then they say, you know, get home on your own. Can you imagine how many volunteers we would have for the army?
Right.
Okay, so this is what he told you, and you believed him.
I did.
Because you wanted to. Anyway, you took $750 from Miss Knudsen. You asked her for it.
Yes.
And why didn't you give it back to her?
She knew clearly that...
Hey, don't tell me what she knew. Don't tell me what she knew.
We had talked about it. The reason I had asked her for $750 was she was going to be getting extra money for sending the money to Charles. He had stated that he was going to pay her double back. I have evidence. I have...
Listen, women sometimes want to believe. They want to believe so desperately lies of a mate. This wasn't even a mate. This was somebody that you never even met. This was like, what's that scam bird that people call you now? You know, I've been kidnapped in Afghanistan and they're holding me for ransom and they're holding your grandchild for ransom. Please send $10,000 to this number or we're going to send home pieces of the finger. Or I am here and I have no way to get home. This is just please send me money. Or you have inherited $100,000. All in order to collect the $100,000, all you have to do is wire $2,000 into this bank account, and then we'll be able to release the paperwork and send you the other $98,000. Only thing is, you believed it.
I did because
you believed it because that's what you wanted to believe.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
What's that scam bird that people call you now? You know, I've been kidnapped in Afghanistan and they're holding me for ransom and please send $10,000 to this number or we're going to send home pieces of the finger. Only thing is, you believed it.
I did because
you believed it because that's what you wanted to believe. I mean, I'm listening to your story. I can't get home because I'm in the military and now I'm no longer in the military and they told me how to get home by myself. You say to yourself, really? Really? You have to return the money to her. $750, judgment for the plaintiff.
Excuse me, step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I don't feel it was my responsibility to have to pay her back.
It's been going on for over a year and she's refused to pay me back.
Because there was an agreement that...
She said on several occasions that she would and just never has.
He would directly pay her back.
So we had to take the next step.
He's been messaging me and I ignore the messages.
I guess I would have been smarter in the situation.
Because I think he's a scammer.
I didn't realize that she never met him in person.
I honestly don't know. I would like to talk to her about the whole thing.
I mean, I'd like to maybe friends, but...
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
It's one of those things I don't know how it'll
go. Have a seat, folks.
Ms. Delgado, you have a business, and this is my understanding of your business.
Yes.
There are people that enjoy, or by custom, have at certain events, the releasing of doves.
Correct.
And you provide those doves,
yes,
which are trained to release and then come back after they've flit around for a while. And then you put them back in boxes like this and take them home.
No. When they're released, they actually go to their homing location.
Okay, so that means that the location of the events must be relatively close.
Not necessarily. My birds have traveled up to 70 miles, and this particular type of bird can actually travel up to 550 miles in a day if they are trained accurately.
That's very interesting. That I didn't know. I've only been to one event where doves were released. It was an unfortunate event. I mean, not the event was a wedding. That was a very happy event. But the doves, as they were being moved from the carton that they came in, which was something like this, into the elegant cage where they're supposed to be released, the transfer did not go well. So I'm sort of familiar, but I didn't know that they could travel that far. In any event, you've been in this business for how long?
15 years. And in relation to what you just mentioned, there are competitors that do not take very well care of their birds. They don't train them as accurately as they should and keep them as healthy as they should.
Well, these birds were relatively healthy before they got transferred from one box to another. Anyway, that's been your business. And you don't have partners in your business.
My son. And I actually have 4 people that do deliveries only for me, for us.
Miss Montgomery is a cousin of yours.
Yes.
And it is your claim in this lawsuit that she has some birds that belong to you.
Yes, birds.
And she wanted to start her own business.
No, that's not correct.
She wanted to go into business with you.
What happened is I introduced my business to her at a barbecue at her home with family.
And
I actually grew
just a
up
second.
with her mother.
I don't need a pedigree. Either she wanted to go into her own business or she wanted to become part of your business.
Yes.
Which is it?
She wanted to help service an area with my birds in her area.
Well, then she was an independent contractor. How was she going to be paid?
I told her I would pay her $50 for crating the birds. If she learned how to do the deliveries, which she was very eager to do, she would get paid
What does that mean? $50 for training or crating?
To crate the birds for pickup for a service, and then $50 for the actual delivery. I typically pay $2 a bird. We have 2 locations, 2 lofts, one in Riverside and one in Paris. For outlying areas, I have a couple of businesses, and I've got documentation here if you'd like to see it. $2 a bird.
So you have other people.
Yes.
You have other people who work for you as independent contractors. You don't pay workman's comp for them. You don't pay. They're not employees of yours. So she's an independent contractor.
No, she's employed through us because she's under our business. She's not independent.
Well, if she's under your business, do you pay taxes for her?
No, actually, she did not work long enough to be able to do anything.
No, Ms. Delgado.
I-99
Ms. Delgado, you 1099 them? Did you 1099 her last year?
No, because she specifically asked me not to include any of her earnings. The reason she began working with me because she went through a divorce.
Mr. Delgado, you've been in business for a very long time.
Yes.
And I've been alive much longer than you have. And I'm a lawyer. So either she's an employee or an independent contractor.
She's an employee, but I did not 1099 her.
Then you committed a fraud. You don't want to commit a fraud. Do you understand?
Your Honor?
Ms. Delgado, this is not what it's about. But I don't want you to try to think where you're going with this. If she's not an employee, she's an independent contractor.
Well, the problem is if she was an independent contractor, she wouldn't be holding my birds. She would have her own.
No, now you're trying to... Don't play with your papers. Now what you're trying to do is think 10 steps ahead. And where am I going with this? And what I'm telling you, if someone is working for you, if I have a house and I have a caretaker, the caretaker, if he's paid every week, is an employee who has workman's compensation.
You're right.
Who gets paid, who has taxes taken out. If you have an employee that doesn't work for you on a full-time, regular basis, I have a gardener who works for me through a company. They come every week, but they don't work for me. They're their own company. So they're an independent contractor, and they pay their own taxes because they're a company. Do you understand? You can't have nothing and pay them money.
Okay.
Do you understand?
I understand you. I understood.
Okay, and you understood me the first time too. So she's not an employee. You said, I'll pay you so much per bird for an event, and she did that. Mm-hmm. Now, it's your claim that she has birds that belong to you.
Yes.
When did you get the birds?
I got the birds in July, Your Honor.
July of last year?
2017, yes.
When did you start releasing the birds for events?
The first event was about 2 weeks later. I had to train them.
Just a second. 2 weeks you don't train them. First event was 2 weeks later?
Yes.
How much were you paid?
$50 for the delivery and $50 for the birds. It was for 4 birds.
Just a second. So you were paid $100 2 weeks later?
Yes, Your Honor.
When did you again work?
in August 2017.
And how much were you paid?
I was paid $100 again for 4 birds. It was $50 for delivery, $50 for the 4 birds.
And when again did you work?
Again in August.
And how much were you paid?
$100 for the 4 birds.
And when again did you work?
In September.
Did you do any after September of 2017?
Yes, I did it in November.
In November. How many?
2.
And what about December?
December, it was $100, but she kept that money because I purchased 2 crates from her.
And how many birds do you have altogether?
She gave me 9 birds initially. April 28th of 2018, I had 11 birds stolen, and
just a second. She gave you 9
yes.
originally
yes.
that you started to work with within 2 weeks. We are now a year later. How many of the 9 birds do you have?
I don't have any, Your Honor. They were stolen on April 28th. 11 birds and 2 babies. I have a police report and pictures.
April 28th of this year?
Yes.
Yeah, I see the police report.
And I have pictures too, Your Honor.
God, I thought I was going blind. I'm so glad. It was just dirty.
Your Honor, I also have photos.
When did you call her and let her know that the birds were stolen?
Immediately, as soon as my son told me that they were stolen.
April 28th?
Yes.
Was that the first time you told her that the birds were stolen?
The only time, yes.
Was that the first time that you had any issues with her with regard to returning the birds?
No. In February 27th, she mailed a certified letter to me stating that she wanted supplies and the birds returned, and I responded in March, but the letter was returned to me that she didn't accept it.
So in February, she said that she wanted the birds returned?
Yes.
I'd like to see that.
Do you want just her letter, Your Honor, or both?
I want both.
Your Honor, we actually discussed in text. She had requested to dissolve the relationship.
Just a second.
Because...
Don't... I'm not listening to you. I'm reading this. The letter of March, she didn't pick up. Is that what you're saying?
No, that was returned back to me.
Okay, so she didn't receive this?
No.
So the last letter that you received was the one that said she wanted her birds back in February?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. You can return these birds. Now I'm going to look at your text messages.
Okay, here are the text messages.
Just give them to me.
Okay.
Who's Luther?
Luther is a business out of Los Angeles.
Just a second. Would you return this to her? I don't care
rents
about that.
my birds
Just
for
a
$2 a bird. Okay. That's a comparison that...
Okay, all right. I don't need any of this. None of this is from her. Is that correct? Just answer my question. None of these texts are from her.
No,
Would you return these to her, please?
I dropped my phone and lost all of my information. She probably has it if...
Your birds were stolen. Your case is dismissed. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It's unfortunate that this has affected our family the way it has.
Because of the birds and what happened here today, it'll probably be a while before we get back together.
I think it'll mend itself.
I hope we can resolve this and move forward.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Bowie versus Diop. Step forward.
25-year-old Akila Bowie is suing car salesman Maktar Diop for the return of money she paid for a car or the cost to repair it.
Miss Bowie, you are an Uber driver for a living. Is that what you do?
Yes.
And you needed a car. The car that you were driving evidently wasn't working anymore. You knew the defendant. He buys and sells cars. You found a car that you were satisfied with, and you made a deal to buy it. So far as those the bare bones of this case?
Bare minimum.
Well, that's what it is. You found a car he was selling. You made a price. The price was?
For the car?
Yes.
$5,500.
And how much did you put down?
$1,500.
And he gave you the car?
Yes.
And you were supposed to make payments to him?
I did make payments.
And how many payments did you make?
3.
In what amounts?
100.
So you paid him an extra $300, $1,800, and while you had the use of this car, which was from when to when?
May 12th, 2018 until, I still have the car in possession, but I don't use the car because the car is it's the limit car, it doesn't work. The transmission is...
You took possession of the car on May 12th?
Yes.
And the car is still with you? Is the car still in your possession?
Yes, but I don't use the
car. I don't care whether you use it or not. It's still in your possession.
Yes.
And you want your money back?
Yes.
You don't get that.
Okay, so I met Maktar.
Listen to me.
Okay.
You have a contract? Do you have a contract
No,
for sale?
so here's the thing.
Here's the thing.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I was forced to sign that. We had a verbal agreement.
You don't have a verbal agreement when you have a signed contract.
No, that's...
Well, I'm telling you what the law is. I want to tell you what the law is.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Akila Bowie says car salesman Maktar Diop breached their contract regarding a car. Maktar is countersuing for the unpaid balance.
Okay, do you have a written contract with him? Is my question. Either yes or no. Can I see it? What year car is this, sir?
2012.
What kind of car?
Ford Fiesta.
I was forced to sign that. We had a verbal agreement.
You don't have a verbal agreement when you have a signed contract.
No, that's...
Well, I'm telling you what the law is. I want to tell you what the law is. When you have a signed contract, you don't have a verbal agreement. It states what the property is. It states what the sale price is. It states what the payments are. Do you understand? It states the entire terms of the contract. The seller notifies the buyer, and the buyer acknowledges that the vehicle is being sold as is, without any warranty of any kind regarding the condition of the vehicle. That's what it says. That's your contract. That's the law.
I'm very aware of that.
Good.
But however, when I met Mr. Maktar Diop, which was in late January 2018, I knew he sold cars. I was desperately in need for a car for Uber.
Bowie,
I got a car for him.
Listen to me.
I got a car.
I don't care. I don't care.
He totally was like very manipulative with the situation.
Good.
Like,
I don't care.
He like made the situation
I have other
seem
things.
like...
I have other things to do.
I understand, Judge. Can you just please hear me out? Is it possible if I can just let you know my story?
I'm telling you what. Listen to me. I'm telling you what the law is.
I need to like really let you know exactly what happened in the situation. It's like ridiculous. So the situation is, when I met him, I knew he sold. When I met him, he told me he sold cars. I really needed a car to drive Uber. The agreement was, if I pay him once I pay him for the car every week, that the repairs for the cars will be done. I wouldn't have to worry about anything.
Who gonna sell you?
No.
I wouldn't have to worry.
I'm giving her exactly 2 minutes, and then I'm saying goodbye to her.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He knew that I was unemployed. The only way he was going to get paid is if the car was in working condition, so I could work and use the car. I was unable to pay because the car was not working.
Now I've heard enough, because I have other things to do today.
And later today,
where's the title to the car?
I have to file for it and get it requested through the mail.
He gave her $1,000 for the car.
Yes.
She has the car.
Yes, she does.
She doesn't know whether she's a foot or horseback. She has no clue.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Akila Bowie says car salesman Maktar Diop breached their contract regarding a car. Maktar is countersuing for the unpaid balance.
Go ahead.
I needed the car from him so I could work for Uber. He knew that I was unemployed. The only way he was going to get paid is if the car was in working condition, so I could work and use the car to work for Uber so I can pay him. I was unpaid because the car was not working. I left the car with him in the shop, and I came back, and it was even worse than it was when I brought it to him. I took it to AutoZone. The catalytic converter was shot, and that was a week after, 8 days later, after May 12th. On May 20th, the car was acting up already. I decided to go on with the situation because I was in desperate need of the car. Like, I have bills I have to pay, and also, like, I really needed the car. So we made an agreement that the repairs will be fixed once I sign the paper that you are looking at, Judge. I start making the payments. I start calling him about everything that was wrong with the car, the engine, the transmission, the radiator that still doesn't work. After they changed it.
Now I've heard enough, because I have other things to do today. Where is the car?
With her.
Good. Okay. Now you have a counterclaim, and your counterclaim is for the balance due on the car.
Yes.
Which is $3,700.
Yes.
Judgment for the defendant on the counterclaim for $3,700. We're done.
Are you serious?
These are excused. You may step out.
It got very weird and creeped out, and I just didn't want to deal with it anymore.
Look at me. I'll deal with classy women, not that type.
Tried to make it seem like I had to give up something for him to repair the car.
I will not stop helping people but I will choose who to help and who not.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Cam versus Everhart. Step forward.
21-year-old Gabrielle Cam is suing her former friend, 22-year-old Jenna Eberhardt, for the return of money she paid for a car but wasn't able to register. Jenna is countersuing for damage to the vehicle and a car key.
Miss Cam, you've known the defendant for a long time. She had a car that she wasn't using. She offered to sell it to you because you needed a car to get back and forth to work.
Yes.
According to you, she sold you the car for $1,000.
Yes.
And you gave her the $1,000.
Yes.
She told you you'd be getting the title.
Yes.
According to you, you got the title, and it turns out that Miss Eberhard had a loan still outstanding on the car in the amount of...
There's not a lien on the... It was for a couple months where it was financed, where I didn't have full coverage insurance.
How much, when you sold her the car and she took possession of it, how much was owed on the car?
About $400 or $500 still.
And you don't know how much? I mean, you knew you were coming to court today. That is a figure that you couldn't get.
No, because the balance is zero now. So I've been calling, trying to get some information, and it said it's paid off. So they don't have a record of any balance anymore. I actually am not sure. I wasn't able to get any. I called the title company, the Alliance where it was. They said that I don't know
Where is the car?
It's in front of my house.
Is what you're telling me the car's in front of your house and you have no idea who paid off the loan on the car? Is that what you're telling me?
No.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Is what you're telling me the car's in front of your house and you have no idea who paid off the loan on the car? Is that what you're telling me?
I don't know if it got written off. I didn't know that there was still that amount left until I looked into it recently before Gabby, because I just recently had a baby, and so we needed another car. And so I was going to sell that one and get the two other ones that we had and get another car. But Gabby had wrecked her car.
Where is the title to your car?
Pioneer Federal Credit Union has the title to my car.
Why?
Because there was still a lien on it from previously, but then the balance is zero as of, I'm not sure when they...
Well, then where's the title to the car?
The company, I have to file for it and get it and request it through the mail.
You gave her $1,000 for the car?
Yes.
She has the car.
Yes, she does.
She doesn't know whether she's afoot or horseback. She has no clue. I don't know how she's taking care of a child.
I'm actually a really great mother, so you don't need to
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,000, which is what you gave her.
Yes.
For the car. Goodbye. Your counterclaim's dismissed. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next...
Do you know that feeling when everything seems to go wrong, but there's someone who stays calm? That's Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that's practical for modern life. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor, exemplified this by staying calm despite wars and plagues. His secret, understanding that life is unpredictable but our responses define us. Here are 10 practical Stoic lessons. Focus on what you can control. In today's fast-paced world, focus on your choices and actions. You can't control traffic or others' moods, but you can control how you respond. Acceptance. Learn to accept things you can't change. This doesn't mean giving up, but adapting and moving forward. Mindfulness. Stay present in the moment amidst daily chaos. Mindfulness helps anchor you in the now, enhancing focus and calm. Resilience. Cultivate mental resilience to face life's challenges. Like a muscle, resilience grows stronger with each test. Choose your response. Your reaction to situations defines your journey. Choose responses that align with your values and goals. Limit desires. Avoid chasing excessive desires. True joy comes from essentials like relationships and personal growth. Virtue. Practice integrity, courage, and wisdom daily. Virtues are your anchors in a hectic world. Transitory nature of life. Embrace life's impermanence. Focus on the present while planning for the future. Gratitude. Appreciate small joys and challenges alike. Gratitude transforms adversity into opportunities for growth. Continuous learning, grow through life's challenges. Each experience shapes your character and resilience. These lessons from Stoicism aren't just philosophical ideas, but practical tools for a fulfilling and composed life in today's world.